Appreciate you guys tuning in this late. And I see somebody in the comments says, hello, AC. Thank you. A few things going on today I want to talk to you folks about. As you see on the monitor behind me, FAFO, and that's going to be in full effect today. In fact, I generally have the stories in order that we're going to talk about, but I'm going straight out with the FAFO story. I think it might be I have it on the monitor already behind me, the FAFO story. Go ahead and cue up this clip because, the right often talks about, we're not for handouts. We certainly are not in favor of, what do you call it, socialism, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. What is the other one? Self-reliant, self-reliant. So I want you to hear this because this one is indeed making the rounds and my damn computer would freeze up. So we'll give it a minute. Once that comes out, I'll go ahead and get into the story. But this is one that certainly is making the rounds, and it goes without saying, I really think this one is interesting. I don't know what the fuck is going on with my damn computer. The minute we start up the show, it's acting goofy here. Yeah. Okay. I think I got it going on there.
The farm economy crisis.
This is what we're talking about.
Oh, good evening to you. We begin tonight with hundreds of struggling Arkansas farmers pleading for emergency federal funding amid a farm economy crisis.
Channel 7's Andrew Mobley attended a meeting between farmers and federal officials earlier today in Brookland in northeast Arkansas and has more tonight. Andrew.
Almost everything that could go wrong for Arkansas farmers did go wrong this year, and it's so bad that many are facing bankruptcy or even the closure of farms that have been passed down for generations. A dismal global market and plunging commodity prices mean there's little to no hope of breaking even for many farmers, even as sky-high input costs rise because of inflation and now tariffs. Not to mention bad weather earlier in the year.
This time last year, the rice price was about 40% higher than it is now. The inputs costs have gone up, so after a horrible year last year where most farmers in Arkansas Delta lost money, this year's going to be worse.
Though President Trump's big, beautiful bill provided a much-needed update to safety net subsidies for farmers, they won't see those federal dollars until late next year, by which time some have projected that as many as 1/4 or even 1/3 of Arkansas farmers will face bankruptcy or be forced to leave the business amid the crisis the American ag economy is currently in. It's already taken its toll this year.
I'm a six-generation farmer from Newport, and we made a decision to go.
Now that's Arkansas. Now this is happening in Arkansas. The farmers are complaining that the tariffs and the economy is destroying their farms. Now, obviously, it goes without saying that Arkansas is a blood red state. So this state overwhelmingly voted for President Trump, and they are complaining that Trump's policies is going to literally cost them their farms. Now, they're asking for subsidies and things of that nature, which is why I brought up socialism, which is why I brought up pull yourself up by your bootstraps, which is why I brought up self-reliance. And I'm going to strengthen it by saying many of these same MAGA voters that voted for Trump were against, sending money to the Ukraine, sending money to USAID, universal health care to Americans, forgiving student loans. But now that their asses are on the line, they suddenly want help. So I do want you to see the hypocrisy to this. This is why I started the program off with the FAFO backdrop up there, because now that these same folks who had little to no empathy for other Americans, now that their asses are on the line, they suddenly are like, can we get a subsidy or something of that nature? They're not the only people out here, folks, that are working and have lost shit due to the economy, due to tariffs or whatever. So how are they any more special than anyone else? Just want to point that out. Now they need help and they expect the government to be there for them, knowing damn well that most of these folks will look at other folks receiving government assistance as some sort of entitlement, idiots or louse on society or welfare queens or something like that. But now they need help and they suddenly expect it. So we'll see how that turns out. But keep in mind that state overwhelmingly voted for President Trump in the state of Arkansas. And then when you go from the citizens of Arkansas and then you narrow it down to the farmers of Arkansas, you're going to have a high percentage of MAGA voters amongst the Arkansas farmers. And there's nothing here to blame on Biden. There's virtually nothing here to blame on Biden. Fortunate to be once President Trump got in office, primarily due to the tariffs, possibly due to the immigration issue, because a lot of those folks are working with immigrants and things like that. And how many of you folks heard about the Hyundai, I think how you pronounce it, the automaker Hyundai down in Georgia, outside of Savannah? They lost like 450 workers. Now, these were Korean nationals. So for you folks, we always talk about how many immigrants are in this country that are south of the border. These people were from Korea, which is the automaker for the Hyundai vehicle. So Hyundai's plant had 400 and some odd Korean nationals working in it that had no legal right to be here in the country. Wow. Oddly enough, before we continue on with the next topic, no mention whatsoever of anyone that was an American that worked at that plant. We're talking CEO, we're talking management, we're talking human resource. No mention that anyone was taken into custody. You go into a plant and you arrest 450 undocumented people that are working at that plant, and no one that is responsible for hiring is taken into custody. How does that make sense? How does that make sense? Are we to believe that they had no clue several hundred people had no right to be in America? How does that make sense whatsoever? Anyway, we'll certainly talk about that. And by the way, that's quite common in these cases, is that they take the low immigrant into custody and no American gets held accountable. Fact is, most of the overwhelming majority of our illegal immigration problem is due to American co-conspirators, whether they're hiring them on farms, in this case at an auto plant, a construction site, a hotel, hiring them as maids and nannies under the table. They are here because there is a huge demand by the American populace for them to be here. Yet we keep penalizing them and pretending like the Americans that helped them do this, that are the reason for them being here, have no play in this whatsoever. So from my own personal standpoint, that shit looks biased as hell. If you truly are for getting rid of immigrants and calling it illegal and calling it a crime, then you should go after everybody that's involved in it, not just the person that came across the border. And this is the way it's covered for every single aspect of illegal immigration, whether you're suggesting they came here to work illegally, whether they're coming here to promote and traffic illegal narcotics like fentanyl, or even whether they're coming here to traffic children outright. In every single case, Americans are not complaining that they're being forced to take part in the trafficking of children, or they're being forced to actually ingest fentanyl. The Americans want all of this shit. No American is claiming that they were forced to hire an illegal. Americans are doing this stuff voluntarily, and the immigrants are just simply meeting the demand. They're supplying for the demand. The Americans are the ones that want these folks here, and you don't hear any Americans being addressed or taken into custody or being punished about this any kind of way. So I do want to just point out that that looks shady as hell. But in addition to our conversation about Arkansas, we do have a couple other topics I want to run into, because the title of this live stream is President Trump losing global respect?
It took Vladimir Putin a few hours to react to pledges made by the coalition of the willing. According to French President Emmanuel Macron, 26 countries out of the group's 35 have said they would deploy troops by land, sea, or air to help protect Ukraine after a ceasefire or peace is reached. This was the Russian president's response.
So should there be any troops deployed in Ukraine, especially now in the course of the military action, we would treat them as legitimate targets.
So hear that out. Several nations have suggested that they're willing to send assistance to the Ukraine. They're going to send troops into Ukraine. And Putin has just stated, we're at war with the Ukraine. So anybody you send over to the Ukraine, we'll consider them as legitimate targets. Why is this such a big deal? This could easily be the start of a major world war, because those nations all have, what is it, Article 5 or whatever it's called. If one member of NATO is attacked, all of the nations join in. So if NATO member states start sending troops into Ukraine, as you just heard Germany and some of them other countries said, and Putin attacks those nations, we could easily find ourselves looking at a war between Russia and Germany, or Russia and England, or Russia and one of those NATO member countries. Once that's on, that means we all have to get involved. Now, I'm going to tell you flat out, from a standpoint of our current president, my guess is if England or Germany or France or someone sent troops into the Ukraine, their troops got killed by Russia, and one of those nations ended up going back and forth with Russia, Trump would probably blame that nation for sending troops to Ukraine to begin with. I don't expect Trump, maybe I'm wrong, you guys can let me know. I don't expect Trump to honor Article 5. I would not expect him to honor that. I mean, we've seen what he's done with the Paris Accord. You've seen him talk about NAFTA. You've seen him threaten to break up NATO, threaten to get out of Ukraine, out of the UN. You've seen what he did with the Iran deal. I do not expect President Trump to honor Article 5. I just don't. I mean, unless one of those nations was acting on his, doing his bidding. But if they were doing what they thought was right on their own, and it ends up causing us to go into war, I do not feel confident that Trump would honor that Article 5. He would blame that nation for doing something as a rogue nation, and that would probably be it. They would be on their own. And of course, once that happens, NATO just falls apart at that point. But I don't feel confident that he would do that. You guys can let me know in the comments as we bring up other callers. But continuing on, in addition to the president, I guess you would call Putin, making that threat, there's more.
With Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and several European leaders following their meeting in Paris today. The group met in an effort to finalize security for Ukraine and to apply added pressure to Russian President Vladimir Putin to come to the table for peace talks. And for more on this, let's bring in CBS News White House reporter Olivia Rinaldi. Olivia, thanks. So good to have you with us here. What do we know about the president's call with these European leaders, and how is President Trump at this point pushing both Russia and Ukraine to finally sit down for that face-to-face?
Nancy, it's good to be with you. President Trump held a phone call.
Okay, this clip was a little bit long, but what I want to point out here is President Trump is now saying that we've lost India to China and Russia. Now, Trump threatened India, but he didn't. This is one where he actually made good. He didn't just threaten India, he made good on this. But he threatened India that if they continue to purchase oil from Russia, they would receive a steep sanction from the United States. That sanction is in place. They have a 50% sanction on India because they've been purchasing Russian oil. So India has been seen hanging around China and Russia, and they're starting to make pacts. So it's pretty clear that India was not going to adhere to the wish or the threat of Trump and stop purchasing Russian oil. So Trump is making it clear now, look, India is not a member of NATO, though, is it? That's what I need. I should have had that prepared. Is India, somebody let me know in the comments, is India a member of NATO? I don't believe they are. Somebody let me know, though. Is India a member of NATO? But Trump stated we've lost India to Russia and China. So I see in the comments somebody says no. Okay, so India is not. Hey, I didn't think they were. Okay, so we got that problem. The whole point of this live stream is that's President Trump losing global respect. This shit is falling apart. That's why we're asking that. We're talking about. We're not talking about protecting the U.S. border or something. We're talking about globally. We're talking about how Trump is looking globally. I'm asking, is he losing global support? Last but not least, I mentioned this one earlier. We hadn't officially started the live stream, but I'm sure many of you heard this already.
A daring mission to, of all places, North Korea. First, though, the news of the day there, you can see the president signing an executive order today renaming the Department of Defense to the Department of War, or the War Department. It comes amid a bombshell report out today about a SEAL Team 6 mission. According to the New York Times, here's what they are reporting tonight. They say the mission was to plant a communications interception device to gain access to the North Korean leader Kim Jong-un's communication channels. During, of course, this was when Trump and North Korea and Kim Jong-un were going back and forth back in 2018, 2019. According to the Times, American SEALs fired on a North Korean boat after they were believed to be discovered, killing all the North Koreans on board. The mission was so covert, it reportedly required the direct approval from the president. The president asked about this today, and this was his response.
I don't know anything about it. No. I could look, but I know nothing about it.
Can you confirm that it happened?
I don't know anything about it. I'm hearing it now for the first time.
Is there anybody that believes that? Now, SEAL Team 6 was trying to plant a surveillance device on Korean soil, and you heard the state that this mission is so confidential, so high up, so dangerous that you can only do it with the president's approval. Now, I heard this story on ABC News, and it's actually got a pretty dark overtone to it. Now, they used a submarine to go off the coast of North Korea. Then the SEALs who were riding on board the sub got into personal subs. So these are little smaller watercraft that get closer to the shoreline. When they popped up, they spotted a boat that was flashing, I suppose, using a searchlight near them. They assumed it was a threat, and they fired upon the vessel. They killed everybody on board the boat, but the ABC News report makes this look a lot worse. Now, once they shot everyone and killed everyone on the boat, they actually boarded the vessel to ensure everyone was deceased and literally punctured the lungs of each one of the people so they would be guaranteed to sink. That's what ABC News, what was it called? This, David Muir, ABC News Tonight with David Muir. That's what was released on ABC News. That they not only, and by the way, these are all innocent people. So the searchlight, the fishing boat, you might be on a fishing boat in the middle of, off the coast of Miami or something, or in some lake near your area, fishing for smelts or something at night, and you see something weird on the water, you might aim your light at it. That's what this sounds like. Just regular citizens on a fishing boat. They aimed their light at the SEALs and discovered this huge mission just solely on coincidence. And then the SEAL Team 6, the same SEAL team that killed bin Laden. So these people are real badasses. Anyway, they killed everyone on the boat, then boarded the vessel to ensure everyone was deceased and punctured each one of their lungs so that when they tossed them overboard, they would obviously have no air in their lungs and they would sink to the bottom of the water. Now that's been released. So when I say losing global respect, obviously Kim Jong-un is now aware of this. Now, he may have been aware that something weird happened off of his coast back when this happened, but now it looks like it's going to be confirmed that America was the one that did it. And this is when Trump was reaching out. Trump went over to North Korea and Trump was this badass leader that was willing to go over there with no security and shake hands with the man, all while doing this behind the scenes. Wow. So we do have to ask, do you see Trump as losing respect globally after doing something like that? I cannot imagine our relationship with North Korea is going to get any better, because that means that President Trump himself was involved in what happened to Kim Jong-un. And you just heard him here state when he was questioned on it, I don't know nothing about it. I never heard of it. And by way of yes or no in the comments, is there anybody that believes Trump doesn't know anything about this? Is there anybody that believes he was telling the truth when he said, I don't know anything about it? I just want to play it real quick again.
I don't know anything about it. No. I could look, but I know nothing about it.
Can you confirm that it happened?
I don't know anything about it. I'm hearing it now for the first time.
Now, this made news when this broke. I heard this, I was out working, doing my day job during the day, but this made news when the New York Times released this story. You're going to tell me by the time this reporter came to President Trump, nobody had told them, look, this story is out here. So let's say Trump had nothing to do with what happened during his first term, during this whole mission. But by the time this reporter came and questioned him on this, he certainly knew about this. because most of us knew about it by the time they came and asked him. So you're going to tell me you didn't, one of your aides or somebody says, look, they don't release this damning story on you. He didn't say, well, go look into that. What is it about? Nothing. I ain't never heard of it before. The president of the United States. Wow. Anyway, looking in the comments, somebody says you don't have no job today. What am I, Tommy off of Martin Lawrence show or something? Who says that story is, seems like that's what he would have said. Seems like he said during my term, we never did anything like that. As opposed to, I've never heard anything about this. I mean, something of this significance, if it happened during your term in the White House, if this did not happen, something this significant like this, where you got to get the president's approval, if somebody questioned you about a story like this and you knew you didn't sign off on, we didn't do nothing like that. This doesn't sound familiar, or this doesn't sound like anything my administration took part in. That's what you would normally say, as opposed to I haven't heard it and whatever else he was saying. So, but we'll look in the comments. We'll go ahead and start the program. So we're talking about this President Trump losing respect. And certainly the farmers in Arkansas. What do you guys think? Should we send the farmers subsidies? Should we help them out now that they voted for Trump and his tariffs are causing them to lose farms? Should the American taxpayer step in and help those farmers out? Going to, what does it say in the comments? Bragging about your military power isn't intimidating countries anymore. No, it's not. It's actually unifying them, because China just had this huge military parade where they got stealth aircraft and things like that. You are correct. Bragging about your military power is not intimidating countries anymore. I could not say it any better than that. That is so true. Going to the box, we'll start it out with Mike. Good evening, Mike. Welcome to the program. So, what do you think? You think this SEAL Team 6 story is all just made up?
No. Before we get started, tap the screen, share the live. Let's get Tim up to about 25,000. I know it's only 71 people in here right now, but we can do it. We can get it cracking on this Friday. No, I don't believe it's made up.
Tim. It's crazy because I got like 4 or 5 times that in YouTube. I don't know why TikTok is doing that to me these days, but go ahead.
No, I don't believe it's made up. I believe that they did it. I believe that they did. They did it. There was no threat to them. It's not like the people on the boat engaged them. That boat, it wasn't even big enough.
Yeah.
And carried enough fuel to make it to the U.S.
Well, but here's the problem, though. Even if they're innocent citizens, even if they're innocent civilians in North Korea, they could get the message out. So, if they just got on their maritime radios or whatever and said there's something going on, that would have alerted the military. So I can see kind of why SEAL Team 6 would do it, because once the military gets involved, their lives are in danger.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, Tim, to alert SEAL Team 6 on a boat that they claim was an imminent threat to national security is absurd. But that's the excuse they use for everything. And now they're unaliving people. Now Trump, on his watch, he would be considered a murderer.
Who is he? Whose life has he wrongfully taken? What are you saying?
These people on the boat. What did they do?
You talking about Venezuelans?
Yeah. What did they do?
Well, I get what you're saying. Here's what they're using, because obviously selling drugs or importing drugs illegally into America has never been a crime punishable by death. But by him upgrading it to refer to them as a terrorist outfit, I guess that there's some kind of extra provisions you get in that where you can start murdering people.
No, there's not. But again, they use these classifications to do the evils that they want to do, and the court's going to come back at some point and say this was illegal. But here's the thing: you don't save the boat. You show no evidence.
Yeah.
You sink it. Tim.
Yeah.
Tim, you haven't heard some silly shit like that on First 48. Like who does that and then just destroys? So you can't prove anything.
Yeah, I said this. Something's interesting. You said it because I was in a MAGA social media chat the other day, and I said the same thing. I said that normally you would fly a Black Hawk helicopter, or you would get a go fast boat and go parallel to this. you aim a bunch of 50 caliber weapons at it and tell them to either stop or then you shoot the engine or something and disable it and then you can catch it. But when you just blow it up, there's no proof that what you claim it was actually was. Like you said, it could have been a bunch of immigrants trying to get into America or trying to go from country to country. You just don't know because they've blown up all the people and the evidence. You just have to trust that what Trump is saying is accurate.
Yeah, and we know he's a liar. You know, every time he blinks, he lies. So, yeah, I say it every time he blinks, he lies.
I get killed on that. I'm staring at bright-ass 100-watt lights. I get people talk about me blinking all the time. But, yeah, I mean...
Every time he blinks, he lies. And now here's the thing, Tim. I want you to remember what I'm getting ready to say. And the people that are listening. Call me whatever you want. This is a bridge too far. But they can do this because he's already demonized that subset of people that we've been talking about for months.
So once you make them seem like vermin and they're poisoning the blood of the country, nobody gives a damn about them getting killed.
Have you heard anybody say anything about it?
Like I said, I talked to people who have been justifying it, who have been saying it's a good thing he killed them.
But we have zero evidence that it. Listen, what you just said, they'll normally shot across the bow in front of the boat.
Yeah.
If they don't do that, they'll shoot out the engine to disable them in the water. At that point, where are they going to go?
Right.
But even at that point, they typically record going on board, record the narcotics, take inventory of the narcotics, weigh the narcotics, so you can understand the impact or the significance of that bust.
Yeah, because of what happened. We don't even know if it, because, some of the times to see if they can actually sneak shit into the country, they do what's called dummy runs. So you might put a bunch of barrels of sugar or something just to see if you can get by so that the next guy in the future can actually do it for real. Because you blew up everything, you don't even know if it was actual real drugs.
Don't know anything. And then when I hear people like Just an Average Mom in the comments say he can't win for losing, you're right. Because this man is deplorable. What he just did to these people, we're never going to know the truth, and he is not the arbiter of truth. He lies so much, we can't assume that because he just said he didn't know anything about it. You watch him turn around and take credit. He's going to take credit for a successful operation. Now, if he's the commander in chief, he's supposed to know about all military operations.
Well, if this happened though, if they're questioning him on something that's so high up, it would have to have his approval. If he didn't take part in this, the correct response should have been, this didn't happen on my watch. I've never authorized anything like this. If somebody did this, some hands are going to roll. That's how he should have responded. But the way he responded makes it clear he was trying to be evasive.
He always does that, and that's his answer about everything. Never heard of it, never done. Yeah. Don't know that person. He didn't know Michael Cohen. He
didn't know Stormy Daniels. Yeah, he didn't know Stormy Daniels. Yeah.
He didn't know any fucking body. Everybody is a mirage to this dude, and his supporters. He can't win for losing because you guys are fuck toys, and you listen and believe everything he tells you up until now. He's unaliving people. And they're still going, well, don't you care about, because they always give us the absolute, like, don't you care about crime, and don't you care about schmugs, and they always do the absolute, like we don't care about those things. But show me where there was any of that present.
Yeah, the Venezuelan thing in particular, and I see somebody in the comments says, this guy is right on. You can't trust Trump, but you can trust the Democrats. So he's using it from a standpoint of sarcasm. Democrats lie too, but we're talking about murdering somebody. I mean, do we have any cases where the Democrats murdered someone without providing any evidence? I mean, Trump is saying, Trump and his administration is saying that they took out drug dealers on a boat. Is there any way to prove what they're saying is true? If someone in Venezuela says that these were not drug dealers he murdered, he has to be able to prove that he had a right to do this. He can't prove that.
Can't prove it, and their lives don't matter because they've been working to not make their lives matter. They've been talking about them as vermin. They've been talking about them poisoning the blood. They've been talking about all the stereotypical tropes. So now nobody cares when this happens, Tim. But I've been telling you this for over a year now. That rhetoric matters because they did it and nobody blinked. And they think that there's a victory in it, but they won't produce any evidence and then turn around and want to hold someone else accountable for the very thing that he did today they would consider deplorable. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I gotta say, this is for my true hardcore MAGA. You know, I always enjoy talking to my MAGA, number respect for my MAGA as well, but you can't be okay with killing people without providing proof that they was doing something that made them worthy of killing. I mean, you just, how many people were on that boat? I mean, 11, you took 11 souls. If they're evil people, you should be required to prove that. You can't just let the president murder 11 people and say, well, they deserve to die. Okay, well, no proof required at all, huh? His word is good enough. So, and as Mike is pointing out, and by the way, I think even MAGA would admit, Trump doesn't tell the truth 100% of the time. You may not think he lies as much as the liberals think he lies, but I know most MAGA understand that some of the stuff he said about the 2020 election is not true. Stormy Daniels stuff is not true. I mean, he does tell some lies. So you can't go around murdering people, and we just have to take your word for it.
That's what they're saying about everything else. Every time he does something, they justify his actions. The National Guard, well, we got to clean up crime. Okay, well, are we just talking about one type of crime? Are we talking about all crime? I mean, what are we actually talking about? Because if we want to clean up all crime, that's not where you start cleaning up all crime, right? But I'm not going to go on my diatribe tonight. But you already know where I'm going with that. I just hate to hear the justification of everything he does, but it tells me exactly who those people are. If you believe that this man is doing the right thing for the country, then you're almost a lost cause. I mean, I mean what I say when I say that. Like, you can't see.
I disagree. I can see why MAGA thinks Trump is doing the right thing for the country is because he's doing things that they felt were a big issue. Protecting the integrity of women's sports. Now, as I always say, that doesn't really affect anybody, but to them, they, protecting the life of the unborn is something that Trump has done in a host of states. You can talk about protecting the border. I mean, he has done some things that is many people believe is right for this country, but he's also doing a whole lot of things that are questionable or wrong as well.
Well, the way that he's going about, listen, Tim, there's a way to do something. You can, I've told you this before, if I owed you $50 and I gave you $50, but I went and punched a lady in the face and took her $50 to give you $50, I did pay you back. Yeah, but the manner in which I paid you back is probably not the way things should be handled. Yeah. So when you give him these punk ass wins, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, he may be saying the end result is that, but the way he went about it violated the Constitution. This executive order for national security, and it's come to this.
Yeah,
I don't see unaliving the people.
I will just say this: when people on the left suggest that Trump is trying to cheat in the midterms, and by the way, folks, tap the screen, get the likes on up to about 15,000. I know it's a small audience here, but do that. It may help. And share the live if you will. When people suggest that Trump is trying to cheat in the midterms and things like that, at this point, I got to say, I kind of understand. If Trump loses in the midterms and the Democrats end up with control of the House and Senate, he probably is not going to finish his whole term. They're going to impeach him immediately. I mean, there's so many things there, like what we're talking about now, where you just murdered some people with no proof. If they look into that and he can't prove that, it does start to look like you murdered somebody. I mean,
this right here, you mark my words. If that happens at midterms, this will be the impeachable thing right here, because he'll have no evidence to support unaliving 11 people. I mean, and I was reading and watching former military commanders and captains and colonels speak about this, and they're all saying the same. Let
me ask it to you this way, because somebody's pushing back hard. One of my guests on YouTube said, "Well, how did he violate the Constitution?" Said, "Seriously, this is constant meltdown." How did Trump violate the Constitution? Is what one of my guests. How do you respond to that?
Okay, perfect. Because when you look at his executive orders and what he invoked the executive orders under, he every executive order, well, not every, the major ones about tariffs and about deportation and the National Guards, and even this, he did it under the guise of imminent national threat to national security. And he has yet to be able to prove that to any judge and in any court. So, under the guise of this imminent national security threat, when there isn't one, and by the way, whoever answered that question, if you go look up these cases, you'll see where these judges are saying, they have no
illegal.
evidence of this.
They've already ruled that they've already ruled that him sending the National Guard into Los Angeles was illegal. So if the Supreme Court doesn't bail him out, that's one of your impeachable offenses right there. I mean, you're basically, and this is what I don't understand, Mike. The right is real big fans of states' rights. It seems like they suddenly are not that big of a fan of states' rights as long as their side is in control, because he is sending the military in the U.S. cities, and he ain't sending it according to greatest threat. He's just picking random cities. Okay, he's going to start with Chicago. Next, he's talking about Baltimore. I think he kind of mentioned New Orleans, but he's just skipping all over the damn place. He's not following any uniform pattern to suggest it's a real emergency.
Right, and here's the thing. And so for just an average mom, says, I just want to hear how the guard violated the Constitution when he I'm just reading the comments, when he activated in a federal district. Again, you're missing the point. He's saying that there's this national threat, that there's this imminent threat to national security. Once he invokes that or uses that, and then he's moving forward. By the time it gets to the courts, they're like, show me the imminent threat. And he hasn't been able to produce an imminent threat. That's the violation of the Constitution, because he's lying to get these executive orders in place to do what he wants. That's the problem in every court. Matter of fact, we're not just talking about the National Guard. We're talking about the deployment of National Guard here in California. DC's doing the same thing right now. We're talking about deportations, where he deemed these gangs to be imminent threats to national security with zero evidence. Yeah. We're talking about tariffs, reciprocal tariffs across the board. He deemed that an imminent threat to national security. And these are the things that you got to go read. That's what he's saying. That's why he's invoking these executive orders. And the courts are going, show us.
Yeah. I got to say, probably to me, the most egregious one is the reason he sent the National Guard into LA. That absolutely was not a national security threat. I mean, you're talking about there was a few blocks downtown that they were rioting in. I mean, that absolutely did not constitute sending all of that military there. So you are right. If all of a sudden they challenge, if you get liberals and they challenge him and he has to prove why he sent the National Guard and he sent the military into Los Angeles, it ain't gonna pass muster. That was by no means that serious to do that. But the right favored it because he was keeping the right people in check. They didn't like the BLM or whoever the hell was rioting, the immigrants. That was an immigration riot. So but it was small. It was contained. There's no way that you would have needed to send a military in there.
Well, and let's be clear, Tim. You're right about that. But it follows suit. He doesn't have the justification for sending the National Guard into DC either. He has more of a right to do it because there's no governor, right, in the way that DC is set up, yes. But he still hasn't identified an imminent national security threat. Matter of fact, if that were the case, why is the National Guard sweeping and cleaning up parks and raking leaves and shit at $2 million a day?
This is something else that I saw. I'm not really going to discuss it much on here because it wasn't part of my topics I normally present, but I'm watching News Nation while I'm getting my notes together for this show. According to News Nation, Trump, since he's been president, his family has made $6 billion. Now, I know we talked about Hunter Biden and Burisma. Hunter Biden, $10 million. We're talking $6 billion. Now, I haven't seen any proof of this. We'll see if the Trump administration pushes back. But they're suggesting that since Trump took office, which is less than a year, that family has made $6 billion.
But they were talking about Hunter Biden and $10 million. The hypocrisy of these crooks, the hypocrisy of this mob mentality, this Gestapo kind of movement is absurd. And his supporters keep going, well, what about, and I'm like, what are you looking at? You wouldn't take this. Biden did nothing remotely close to this shit. and you guys thought that he was the worst president on our earth. Can you imagine if they would have said Biden and his family made $6 billion and they went over to the Middle East and bought a jet? So much has happened, we forget.
But wait a minute, Mike. He is not taking a salary. Can we give him credit for that?
Fuck that. And by the way, just an average mom. I'm in California too. It wasn't a huge threat. Stop it. Matter of fact, I was down there. It wasn't a huge threat. It wasn't more than 5 square city blocks. Stop it.
I'm not in. I'll be. Obviously, I'm from Chicago. I'm not in LA. I wasn't there during that time, but I was watching the news during that time, and reporters that were there made it clear that if you're in LA and you don't know where this is at, you would not even think it's happening. The area this is happening in downtown is such a small area. People are going about their business in LA, and if you don't know where to go find this, you would never know what's happening. It's not like you look in the sky and you see smoldering rubble. You see big smokestacks coming up because buildings are burning and everything. It made it clear this is a tiny ass area, and that he used that it was a federal building or something that was within the area. So we're sending in the military to protect that building. He just came up with the lamest, smallest excuse to do it.
And again, I'm going to say this, Tim. For those that are still trying to justify his actions, if all of that is clear, then tell me why he didn't invoke the National Guard on January 6th. Just an average mom. You're in a comment.
That was Nancy Pelosi's job. That was Nancy Pelosi's job.
No, don't listen. Listen, this is my point. You can't weasel out of every one of these things without looking yourself in the mirror and go, maybe I need to look at myself. Because if he had a right to send the National Guard in D.C. for now, which he does, he had the same right then. The laws haven't changed.
Yep.
The laws haven't changed.
And that is to me, that's indefensible. That all of a sudden now you're president, you doing all this shit on your own, but when you're president the first time, you decided to leave your security up to one of your worst political rivals. That never made sense to me. I mean, if I'm having an event and I need security, the last person I want doing it is Nancy Pelosi. I've been criticizing her. She's been criticizing me, tearing up my speeches and shit the whole time I've been in office. Why the hell would you leave your security up to her? That made no sense at all. I got to move it on, but I'll give you the last word.
I'm going to say, I appreciate that, Tim. I always appreciate you bringing me up. But I'm going to say this. For those people that continue to make excuses for him, I don't believe you would make excuses for your husband or your wife if they were showing you this type of character, morals, and ethics. I don't believe that. I don't believe you would make excuses for your children making these same decisions and not doing your due diligence to find out the truth. Instead, you allow somebody, because of whatever your beliefs are, to control the way you think and makes you set your common sense aside. Now, if that doesn't apply to you, then you are the racist. You are that person that accepts these things and you're okay with it because it's cruelty to others and not to you. But I have news for you. If you're not one of the top 1% or the top 5%, this shit is going to affect you too. And in that moment, don't find a moment of clarity saying you didn't know about this. Just accept the fact that your bigotry and racism finally hit home.
All right, Mike, I appreciate it. Thank you as always. By the way, tap the screen, folks. Get the likes on up. Get your boy on up to 20,000. We can certainly make that happen. That's almost enough for you in here. Real quick in the comments, someone in regards to the whole Nancy Pelosi thing, somebody said it was her job, research her job responsibility. Well, as my last caller said, that's Ken Phillips. Good evening to you, Ken Phillips. Appreciate the comment. And Will G, I do see you. I'll go ahead and address that in a quick moment here. And thank you, Will. Appreciate that. When you say it was Nancy Pelosi's job and you say research her job responsibly, here's the problem. As my last caller pointed out, there's been no policy changes. So if it was her job to deploy the National Guard in 2021, January 2021, it should be the Speaker's job to do it now. Why is it all of a sudden Trump is able to deploy the National Guard constantly now when he couldn't do it then? There's no law been passed to change whose jobs, who's responsible for doing it. So if he could deploy the National Guard now, he could have deployed the National Guard then. I still have not heard anybody explain what changed. Why is he able to do it now and he couldn't do it then? No laws have been passed to change who's responsible for that. So it's pretty clear, in my humble opinion, that he didn't want to deploy it then, and he wants to deploy it now. Looking in the comments, though, Will G starts it out with Trump ain't shit. Will G says Trump ain't shit. I'm going to put on my glasses because I got a different device and it's small. Says this may be conspiracy, but it wouldn't be far-fetched that Trump would be actively burying bodies. Damn. Those guys on the boat might have been loose ends close to Trump. That is some deep conspiracy. I don't know. Because we don't have the bodies, because we have no evidence, even though what you're saying sounds very conspiratorial to me, I can't prove you wrong. He blew them all up. So there's no way to know. And we're not going to obviously be able to ever interview probably the Navy SEALs that were involved in the mission. So as conspiratorial as what you're saying sounds, there's no way to prove it right or wrong. I mean, the claim was that they were trying to bring drugs into the nation, and we just blew the people up. So we have no evidence if what Trump said is accurate or if it's made up. As you say, it could have been somebody that maybe he had beef with. Who knows? There's no way to know. It could be some immigrants trying to sneak into a country. We know that the Trump administration is not favorable to illegal immigrants coming in. Just no way to know. We don't have access to the stash of drugs that we're bringing in. We don't have access. We don't even know who they are. So anything is possible, unless you just simply want to take Trump's word at face value and ask no questions. Like my boss covering his tracks. Like I said, I can't disagree with you. Like I said, what you're saying sounds conspiratorial, but there is absolutely no way to prove you wrong with all of the evidence blown to smithereens. Nancy Pelosi was the only Speaker of the House, third in line of the presidency. She is not the commander-in-chief of the military. Trump was. Well, you heard my response to it. Once Trump became president again and started deploying the National Guard all over the place, it really puts holes in his theory that Nancy Pelosi was responsible for doing it the first time. Because there hasn't been any type of legislation or law that changed that says you can do it now, but you couldn't do it in January 2021. So I don't see how to explain that away, other than he wants to deploy the National Guard now. He did not want to deploy the National Guard in January of 2021. And by the way, many of his statements and actions that have come out since January 6th makes it clear that if it was his responsibility to deploy the National Guard on those people, he was not going to do it. He views them as patriots. He viewed them as hostages. He made a national anthem song with them, and then he later pardoned them all. So does that sound like a group of people that he would have deployed the National Guard on to begin with? So, I mean, the evidence to me, or at least the circumstantial amount of evidence on that stuff, is overwhelming that even if he could deploy the National Guard, which I believe he certainly could have, he wasn't going to do it anyway. We're almost 5 years out from January 6th. Have you ever heard Trump say anything negative about that day at all? Other than Ashley Babbitt losing her life? Has he said anything negative about any of the action there at all? Why would you think he would have deployed the National Guard? Even if Nancy Pelosi called him and said, "You want me to send in the Guard, sir?" My guess is he would have said no. He don't even think they're a problem. He's on a revenge mission. It's obvious, says Chris. Yeah, well, he told Sean Hannity that he was not going to be a president of vengeance. He told Sean Hannity he would not do that. Let me go back to the box real quick in the comments before we move on. It depends on, I switched over to a smaller iPhone, and damn, the wording is so small. It depends on the crime. I don't agree with all his actions that are criminal. Some of them shouldn't be crimes, while some of them should be even harsher sentences for the crimes. Well, the reason I'm saying Trump is likely to get impeached is because, well, first of all, we don't know everything they're going to come up with. If his family made $6 billion, I'm saying if, because I don't have any proof. I saw it on News Nation. Is that right? Is it wrong? We'll find out. But if his family made $6 billion since January, what are the chances that they did something that's illegal in terms of what they can do with the office of the president? I'm talking about stuff like insider trading or issues with the cryptocurrency. Is there any chance that something there is not on the up and up? Because Congress is going to go through all of this shit with a fine-tooth comb. Did he receive money from foreign countries for anything? They're going to go through all of that shit with a fine-tooth comb. Now, I'm not saying his cryptocurrency has anything illegal involved in it at all. But I'm going to say this for, once again, my beloved MAGA. You wouldn't be fine with crooked Hillary Clinton in the White House running a cryptocurrency, having her own cryptocurrency. So listen, you can talk about everything from Democratic speculation to Trump derangement syndrome and all of that stuff, but questioning why a sitting president has his own crypto is a legitimate thing to question. Because you know damn well if Biden or Hunter Biden or crooked Hillary Clinton or even Barack Obama had their own crypto while serving in the White House, you'd have a big problem with that. You'd have a really big problem with that. I don't know why you don't now. I mean, that is like the best avenue you can create to do corrupt shit with foreign leaders. I mean, maybe what he's doing is 100% innocent, but there's no way to know. That shouldn't be happening from a sitting president. You shouldn't have your own cryptocurrency as a sitting president. So Congress is going to tear all of that shit apart. If he ends up losing, in fact, even if the Republicans maintain the House and Senate, whenever the Democrats get back in control, they're going to go looking for that shit. Whenever they get back in control, 2028, 2030, 2032, whenever they get back in control, even if he's dead, because there are other family members you can recoup a lot of money from, they're going to go looking through that shit. I mean, there's obviously, you're making money too fucking fast. With the economy and things like that, how are you making $6 billion in less than a year? This has got to be, and I'll go to the box now, but Trump has made a ton of money throughout his life. He's been very wealthy from day one. But if you were to paint his wealth on a graph, you would be able to tell when he got elected the second time, because his wealth has just took a sharp spike. When he came on the scene in 2015 down the Golden Escalator, I believe he claimed to be worth $15 billion back then. Now, Forbes and some of them said he was exaggerating, but fact is, he came on the scene claiming to be worth $15 billion. Now, that's $15 billion he don't accumulate it out of, at that time, about almost 70 years of life. He's made $6 billion in less than a year at this point. So the first 70 years he's claimed to have made $15 billion. He's made 6 additional in a span of less than a year. That doesn't look right. What is he involved in is paying off like that? I mean, any of his companies, any of his businesses doing that? What is he involved in is paying off like that? That is something certainly to look into. And then, of course, if he's putting down bullshit on his taxes or whatever, that's just opening up the door to all sorts of other crimes. Let me go back to the box, tap the screen, get us on up to about 20,000. We can make it happen if you let your thumbs not be lazy. Top Dog. Good evening, Top Dog. Welcome to the program. Now, do you see Trump as potentially losing respect globally with, several leaders now that are kind of giving him the thumbs, giving him the finger, particularly Putin, because he actually met with Putin, threatened Putin several times, and Putin is doing everything the opposite of what Trump wanted. Do you see him as losing respect globally? Because remember, we got rid of Biden and finally we got a leader in there that people respect. What say you?
Yes, sir, Tim. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Good to have you on.
Yeah, definitely. He's lost respect. He didn't lose respect. He lost respect.
What do you mean?
Well, the way with the tariffs, he's pushing his friends around like India, and what Trump has to realize, Tim, Putin is not your friend. Think about this real quick. I talked about this earlier, Tim. Trump, you think Putin's your friend? You're
not anymore. I doubt if he thinks that now.
Well, maybe not anymore, but a couple weeks ago, Trump was buddy out there on the red carpet, all that. You think he's cool with you, Trump, and you're supporting the country that's killing his people? What about that, Tim?
Well, but at the time when Trump, wait a minute, when Trump took office, he was very critical. Remember, you don't have the card, Zelensky, and you're flirting with World War III. He took office. He was on the side of Russia.
Yeah, he was. But in reality, when Putin look at it, you're still supporting the people that I'm going against. Even if you're selling them weapons, you're giving Ukraine weapons, Anything to support Ukraine, you're supporting my enemy. You think he's gonna be friends with you, Trump? You'll be a fool to believe that.
I don't think Trump was doing any of that, though. Trump took office. He stopped sending weapons to Ukraine, stopped giving them surveillance. He did everything Putin would have wanted them to do.
And still, America is still supporting Ukraine. We're still selling weapons to Ukraine.
Well,
we're selling weapons to Ukraine.
Yeah, but we came back to that after about 6 months. I think when Zelensky finally met Trump again at the Pope's death, I think that's when Zelensky finally was able to convince Trump, probably kissed up, learned that you can't argue with Trump. You got to be submissive to him. Whatever the case, it was from that point on when, I don't know what month that Pope died, but Trump and Zelensky met at that point. And from that point on, Trump started being a little bit more favorable and friendly to Zelensky. But the first few months, he was really criticizing Ukraine and blaming them for the war.
Well, yeah, he was, because he thought that Putin was going to be his buddy, and Putin was going to listen to him. He's going to give Putin these 2 weeks notice, and he have to stop doing this. And Putin is just running circles around Trump right now, Tim.
I gotta admit, though, I thought the same shit, though. I had lives when we were down, we were talking about between Kamala Harris and President Trump, who we were going to elect. I was telling folks, if your main concern is ending that war between Russia and Ukraine, or even ending the one between Palestine and Israel, I said flat out, Trump is the best person to vote for by far, because Trump has favorable relationships with both Putin and Netanyahu. I actually thought he could maybe not 24 hours, but I didn't think we'd still be dealing with this shit 8 months down the road. I actually thought he could do what he was promising myself, and I didn't even vote for the guy.
Well, you was totally wrong, right, Tim?
No shit. He was totally wrong.
You was fluffy. You was fluffy. Back then, you was fluffy.
I wasn't fluffy.
You was fluffy back then. You believe that bullshit. I didn't believe it from the time he said it to right now, Tim. I didn't believe nothing Trump said. I don't believe shit that come out of his mouth. Just like he said today, he didn't know nothing about nothing that's going on. He don't know nothing. He to be the president, he don't know a lot of shit, Tim.
Well, but I've always, I get your point, and I can't argue with it, but I've always been under the impression that him and Putin, because I think Trump was on course to build the tallest skyscraper in Russia before he became president. I thought those two men were a lot more friendly than Putin has shown. Putin has made it clear. I think the problem is when Trump became president, he led us to believe you can threaten your way to glory. And that might have been what triggered Putin's ego. Like, you ain't about to have people thinking you threatening shit out of me. Because MAGA was going around all over social media in the United States making it sound like Putin was going to be Trump's bitch. And maybe he got access to some of that stuff. But that's what Trump made folks believe, is that America can threaten its way to glory. So some of these people may be pushing back just from a standpoint of, I'm not going to be your bitch.
I mean, that's definitely part of it, Tim. And I also believe, like I told you before in your lives plenty of times, Putin is not going to let Trump in that war so he can get in the middle, then he can get all the glory for it. Putin's not going to give that to him. Yeah. I don't give a damn what Trump thinks. Nobody. He's not going to give Trump enough power to get on his grandstand and say, hey, you know what? I stopped the war with Ukraine and Russia. I'm the big guy. He's not going to give it to him. And also, I don't think Putin wants to end the war. I think Putin wants to end that war. Yeah.
I think Putin wants to end that war with Ukraine about as much as Trump wants the Epstein information to come out. Hold on one second, real quick. Will G in the comments says Trump's Department of Justice deputy leaking information about the Epstein files. Really? Taking out all the Republicans' names and leaving the Democrats in is crazy work. MAGA will eat it up either way. You're right about that. Wow. But yeah, I don't think Trump, I don't think Putin wants to end the Ukraine war, just like you said, just like I don't believe Trump wants the Epstein information to come out. But so where do we go from here with Russia, China? Obviously with the SEAL Team 6 shit, North Korea may be starting to get more active. We know India is no longer on our side. What's happening?
Well, it's just like, a bully as a kid. He's running all his friends off, Tim. He's picking at his friends. Like India. India was just over here within 2 months ago. Yeah. They was buddy up there at the White House. Mondi was up there kissing Trump's ass. He thought he had a good deal with America. Then I leave, and then a month later, you slap me with another 25% more tariff on top of that.
Yeah,
I thought we was cool, Trump.
Yeah, the tariffs are just like I said. the Trump administration, or better yet, I won't say Trump administration because I don't know how J.D. Vance and all them feel, and Marco Rubio. I don't think Rubio or J.D. Vance, if they were president, would be making as many threats worldwide as President Trump. I think Trump has had a lot of success in his life by threatening and people and bullying his way around. I don't know if Vance and Marco Rubio have had that kind of success. I don't think they would do that. But yeah, that's what's happening, is that Trump is basically leading us to believe that everybody's scared of America, and all you got to do is threaten them. Everybody needs us more than we need them. They need our dollar. They need our imports or our exports. They need us. They need us so bad that we can just threaten everybody, and they're going to bow down. And that doesn't look like that's working, at least with Russia, China, India, and North Korea.
Well, Trump allowed China to make the move for number one. China been number two for years, Tim. They've been number two to America. They've been number two forever. So Trump is allowing China, Xi, whatever his name, Xi, to build a coalition with all the big countries. He's running everybody to those people over there. When you're a leader of America, you're the number one country. And when Trump came in office, Tim, if Trump would have came in there on some peace and trying to, partner with all these countries, America would be booming right now. The tariffs is bullshit because they've collected $212 billion in tariffs, but American companies are paying for it.
So what's the solution? We get another guy in there that does an apology tour like Obama in 2009 or whatever? Because Trump is obviously harming relationships we have with either allies or people that we kind of view as an associate. They could go either way, and we don't really hate them. We don't love them. He's harming, like India. I think India is one of those kind of countries. We didn't really love them. We didn't hate them. They weren't a complete ally, but they certainly wasn't an enemy. But obviously their relationship has taken a downfall since Trump has gotten in office. So what is the end game? To have an apology tour or something?
Definitely not going to go on an apology tour of a next politician coming off it. But, you got to go to the table If he leave office and he got a 50% on India, you might need to go to the table with India and say, we're going to cut that 50 down to 25%. You got to go back to the table and negotiate.
Wow.
You got to partner up. You can't run everybody off in the world and think, you're the big bully and you can threaten everybody and think it's going to work that way. No, that's why the job reports are low. The companies are not hiring right now. The trucking industry is very low right now. A lot of people getting out the trucking industry right now.
I used to be
Matter of fact, the farmers up in Arkansas, let's talk about them. They had the videos, they having a meeting talking about, they need help. Yeah. But one thing I did not see, and none of those people, I didn't see no MAGA hats.
That's a great point. Now that's how I don't know if you were here when I don't know if you were here when I first started the monologue, but we played the clip. 3-minute clip of that Arkansas situation. And you're right, in that room, in that town hall, not one of them had on the MAGA hat. And they're all MAGA. They're all MAGA.
They're all MAGA, Tim.
Yeah.
Yeah, they all get disgruntled with getting upset with Trump right now. He's pissing everybody off. The only people he's not reaching off is the filthy rich.
But let me ask you this question. Though. If you had a vote right now today, Trump versus Kamala Harris, you think they would rethink their vote at all, or do you think they would still vote for Trump?
Like I always tell you, Tim, I'm going to tell you once again, going forward, the Democratic Party, we're not trying to convince MAGA. We're not going to get MAGA. We want the people on the fence, the independents, and people that switch their votes. MAGA going to vote for Trump no matter what. They're going to go to the end with Trump, Tim. You know that.
Even if they're wait, you're saying even if they're losing their jobs, their farms, their homes, MAGA would still continue voting for Trump?
Yes, because of hatred for the Democratic Party. Yeah, I can see that.
Damn. You hate him.
They're not.
I'll let you continue, but MAGA always says that Democrats hate Trump more than they love their country. You're making it sound like the MAGA hates Democrats more than they love their own success in finances.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's just like right now, Tim, like I always say, and I disagree with you, all the writers sticking it to the left. They're not sticking shit to the left, Tim. You always say that. Oh, they're sticking it to the left. No, Trump's not sticking shit to the left.
I disagree.
He's fucking messing everything up, Tim. I disagree with you, Tim. He's messing everything up.
I think
But for the average American, he's not sticking it to the lib or whatever you want to call it.
I think Trump is sticking it to the liberals right and left. You and I disagree on that. I think everything liberals favor, Trump is attacked. Woke, black history, fucking LGBT causes, everything the liberals favor, Trump has either chopped to pieces or he's attacking. He's sticking it to the liberals right and left. I think he's doing a great job at that, which is why I think that's probably one of the reasons MAGA is going to see Trump as successful no matter what goes on, because that's something they really like. Liberal tears and fuck your feelings and mean tweets. He's doing a good job at that. He is sticking it to the liberals.
Well, okay, well, that's fine, Tim. If you feel that way, you know what? Let him keep sticking it to the libs. You know why? Because I want him to keep doing all the bullshit that he's doing. You know why? Because it's gonna energize those Democrats to settle their ass in 24 to get their ass out and vote. So all the Democrats is listening. If you did not get out and vote, don't complain about nothing that Trump's doing right now. You sat on your ass. I'm talking to Democrats. If you did not get out and vote, don't complain about nothing. No gas prices, no nothing. Food prices, nothing. You did not. This is the consequence. You're not getting off your ass.
Well said.
So yeah, I want Trump to keep doing what he's doing. He want to put people in Chicago. Do it. Because all he's doing, Tim, and Jack, all he's doing is energize the Democratic Party. We'll
see in about 14 months. I got to move on. Your signal's kind of breaking up. Top dog, I appreciate you coming on, but 14 months is the midterms. Okay. We'll see how it goes. Thanks for coming through. All right, moving on with the program. I do want to address a comment I got to put on my spectacles. Will G, you says Joseph Schmidt, currently acting deputy chief at the DOJ's Office of Enforcement Operations, made the claim while being secretly recorded on what he believed was a date with footage posted on X. Wow. He might get thrown under the bus. Jeez, he might get thrown under the bus. Can you imagine all of the books that's going to be written once Trump is out of office? Because people know shit. People are afraid and things like that. Some of them are admitting it. Because listen, if you say something like, didn't they make a threat the other day that if the conservatives on the on Congress, if they vote to release the Epstein files, that they'll view it as a threat? And which means that if you're a conservative and you join the liberals in releasing the Epstein files, somebody from the Trump administration, if not Trump himself, is going to come after you. I mean, the notion is they're operating on threats. Trump, like I said, Trump has done really well throughout his life via bullying and threatening. It's worked really well for him. I mean, he's had cleaners, fixers, kind of like Michael Cohen. He has some of those now hanging around him now. He's done really well threatening folks that get out of line. And that's working very well with the politicians in Washington, too. So I'm not confident that that whole push to get the Epstein files released is going to go the way the liberals want, because he's going to scare a lot of the conservatives into not doing it. I think they have like 4 conservatives right now that are willing to push on that. And that's crazy because the conservatives overwhelmingly wanted that information before Trump got elected. Now he gets in there and they're like, well, maybe we don't really need to know what happened. Maybe the Democrats should have released it. We'll blame the Democrats. Biden should have released it. We're not going to really push Trump to do it. It's crazy that that's happening, but that does appear to be the case. Moving on with the program. Does not work in the world. The U.S. is not running the world anymore. It works somewhat. It depends on the country, but you are correct. If you are the leader of a nation, you can't let the United States go on a global stage and punk you out, which is why even Saddam Hussein, who knew he had no chance against the United States, continued resisting until the day he died. I mean, your people are not going to look at you with respect if another nation is punking you out like that. You have to stand up and say something. You have to push back. And the way Trump does it, Trump is so demeaning, so degrading. You could be a nation with only a few thousand people, you got to push back because he degrades the hell out of you. If you let him do that and your people see that, you're going to have no respect among your own constituents. So they have to push back. He's trying to gerrymander the whole country before the midterms. He's afraid to become a lame duck president. I don't think it's the lame duck thing. I mean, he's concerned with that. I think that says Houston. He's concerned with being a lame duck president, but I think he's more fearful of being impeached and possibly who God knows what else would happen. He certainly would be impeached. If the Democrats take control of the House and Senate, they're going to impeach him immediately. There's plenty of stuff there that they can either get him on outright or twist to come close to getting him on. Like I said, your own cryptocurrency, stuff like that. I'm sure there's things in there that is not on the up and up. He's definitely guilty of insider trading, telling people when to buy and sell right before doing things, all of that stuff. So there's plenty of stuff in there to impeach him with. And if they have control of the House and Senate, they're going to impeach him and kick him out. He would have got kicked out the first time if Mitch McConnell had took it up in the Senate. So they're not just going to, it ain't going to be an impeachment like Bill Clinton. It's going to be an impeachment where he has to go. So that's what he's more concerned with, in my opinion, than being a lame duck. The left is only pushing more to the right. The hate for Trump is only making more votes keep on. I don't think that's the case. I don't think you're going to have a liberal or an independent voting for Trump just because. Listen, as a politician, people are going to hate you. I mean, Trump is continuing to attack Biden. You can't put a microphone in front of his face even now without him attacking Biden. Does that make people want Biden back? No. I don't think attacking Trump is what's making people like him. The people that do like Trump, him being attacked so much maybe makes them sympathize and like him even more. But new people are not joining Trump's team just because he's getting attacked. I don't buy that. It might be more dependent on who the liberals put forward. I say all the time, Kamala was not a good candidate, but I don't think that Trump getting attacked is bringing people to his side. Nate, good evening. Welcome to the program. The Simpsons are coming. What was the prediction on the Simpsons? Because that comes up in the show all the time. What did the Simpsons predict? Nate, good evening.
What's up?
Shit. So what do you think? The farmers in Arkansas. Did you see the clip I played?
No, I missed it.
Okay, I'll give you plenty of time, but I want you to hear about a minute of this. Apparently, now Arkansas is blood red. So I think Trump won Arkansas 64%. And then when you break it down to the farming community, it's going to even be more red than normal. The farmers overwhelmingly support Trump.
To you, we begin tonight with hundreds of struggling Arkansas farmers pleading for emergency federal funding amid a farm economy crisis.
Channel 7's Andrew Mobley attended a meeting between farmers and federal officials earlier today in Brookland in northeast Arkansas and has more tonight. Andrew.
Almost everything that could go wrong for Arkansas farmers did go wrong this year. And it's so bad that many are facing bankruptcy or even the closure of farms that have been passed down for generations. A dismal global market and plunging commodity prices mean there's little to no hope of breaking even for many farmers, even as sky-high input costs rise because of inflation and now tariffs. Not to mention bad weather earlier in the year.
This time last year, the rice price was about 40% higher than it is now. The inputs costs have gone up. So after a horrible year last year where most farmers in Arkansas Delta lost money, this year's going to be worse.
Though President Trump's big, beautiful bill provided a much-needed update to safety net subsidies for farmers, they won't see those federal dollars until late next year.
So what do you think? Should we bail out the farmers in Arkansas? That remember, these are the same folks that would not be in favor of universal health care, forgiving student loans, sending money to USAID, helping out the Ukraine, or helping out any damn body else, but now they need help and they're asking for it. What say you?
Well, I thought you actually had something new because that they've been saying this for months already that this was happening.
Okay.
Okay,
so my question still applies.
Yeah. So we have to. We all eat out of it. Those farms is for everybody in the United States to eat, not just Arkansas to eat.
You don't think health care is for everybody in the country? We weren't in favor of giving everybody health care.
But we all have to. We have to. Each one has to be separate at the same time, like healthcare and everything, but we all have to do it. It doesn't matter. For us to eat in New York, we need Arkansas. For LA to eat, they need that too. So we could work on the next medical problem later on, but we need it. It doesn't matter. We ain't gonna get it from China. They ain't gonna send us corn. They ain't gonna do all that shit.
Yeah, but what about the notion that these people would not be going through this if it wasn't for the tariffs and shit? As opposed to hold on. As opposed to subsidizing them, maybe we need to rethink what we're doing in terms of the tariffs and the inflation, which is what they're saying is causing the problem.
Yeah, but that's Trump. We can't stop him. Right now, the Supreme Court said, yo, you can't do that. He's still doing it. That's why the other day when you were talking about like why everybody wants Trump to die or was wishing that he had died, is that because as long as he's there, being peace and fight, he was still there. He got reelected again. So a lot of people are looking at it like he has to go away permanently for this to stop.
So let me ask you yourself, if we do the letter, this is a question specifically to you. This is, you do the letter grades in high school, A, B, C, D, and F. What grade would you give President Trump so far?
I give him a D.
D. Okay. So
he may have something going on, like maybe he stopped the border. He's never, nobody stops the border, but maybe he's slowed it down or whatever. But obviously that's hurting us. As you can see, he's hurting the farmers, and they were using them.
Yeah.
They were using the people coming up. So he's not perfect at that, but the image on where you want, which TV show you want to watch, what channel you want to watch, will tell you he's doing great and he's doing horrible.
Well, I will say now. Obviously, you're correct. Some folks are going to say he's doing horrible. Some people are going to say he's doing great. First thing I would want to know, when you got farmers like this in Arkansas saying what they're saying, you see what happened with the whole "I'll end the war in 24 hours." We're still talking about Epstein. Why would anyone be saying he's doing great right now?
Well, I was just saying. Well,
no, but you're right, though. You are right. I got people telling me on my show that he's the best president we've ever had. I've had people say that as soon as a couple of days ago. Why are people saying that?
So like I told you, like the people who think he's doing great no matter what he does, it's like a football team. Like in New York, there's people that are Jets fans. Jets suck every year. In the beginning of the year, he's great. They the best. Like the best quarterback. You got people we just drafted. You got to see these guys. It's like a sport. It doesn't matter what he's doing. We're still going to root for him. That's how they do it. That's your MAGA, right?
Damn.
Now there's the Republic. Now when everybody keeps saying like, oh, MAGA, because remember, I'm not Republican, I'm not Democrat, I'm nothing, right? So when people keep saying MAGA, they throw the Republicans in there. There's people who are just Republicans. The MAGA is the ones that ran to the Capitol. The Republicans are like, hey, maybe, this was being whatever, but they weren't going to do nothing drastic. They wasn't going to run down there. So those are the ones that be switching over.
But but Nate, here's the problem though. You're right. There's a difference between MAGA and a traditional Republican. You're right. MAGA's the one that ran into the Capitol, not a traditional Republican. But a traditional Republican chose to vote for Trump after watching MAGA run into the Capitol. That's why people were conflating them together. You didn't do it, but you actually watched them do it, and then you gave him support after he did it.
But they believed in lies. They could see the lie now. Like right now, like if you playing I don't know, say if I tell you, yo, look, if you show up tomorrow for work, I'm gonna give you an extra $200. Mm-hmm. You show up to work and now you don't have, you be like, hey, like my boss is great. If I show up to work tomorrow, you're gonna give me an extra $200. Then you go to work tomorrow, you don't get the $200, now you pissed off. Mm-hmm. Like he said he was gonna give me the $200. That's what happened with the election. He was telling them lies, they believed it. They said, okay, well, he's going to stop all the wars. He's going to fix my food prices. He's going to stop the gas. He's going to do this. And then as soon as he got in, he switched everything over. There's a lot of people who are like, yo, this is not what he was saying. There's a lot of people saying that. So they just believe the lie. So are you trying to suggest that there are traditional Republicans that voted for Trump that are now admitting they were lied to and they're not happy? Yeah. But that's how the numbers always change in every election. They don't have to change to be a Democrat. They'll just vote for somebody else. Like, no, he was doing this bad. We switched over and took him. That's how Trump lost the first time. It was because people were like, nah, he was doing this messed up. He was doing that messed up. They wanted the Epstein stuff. Like, right now, the worst part of Trump is that he knows he doesn't have to get reelected. So he could do whatever he wants. Who cares? Yeah. And with his little side businesses in the like stealing with the cryptocurrency, it's funny how he had his whole family the first case when he was in Trump as president. His whole family was in the White House. They all almost got caught and locked up.
What? But let me ask you that. Now you mentioned Difference between MAGA and traditional Republicans. I'm going to ask you from a traditional Republican standpoint, why are they not pushing up back against that? First of all, the first time you're president, you got your whole family working in the White House. The second time you're president, you're making a fortune, making money hand over fist. Let's take MAGA out of it. As you used your New York Jets analogy, I understand your point about MAGA. But even the traditional Republicans, why are they standing by and letting them do that? First, your whole family's working in the White House the first term. The second term, you're making all sorts of money. Why are they not speaking out against that?
Because they couldn't hear the court cases. That's why.
What do you mean the court cases?
So like if the Florida court case had went through and they proved that, you know, he stole all this top secret stuff and he flooded the servers and everything else, or in with the Epstein case, and he would.
That's not what I'm talking about. That's not what I'm talking about.
So okay, break it down.
What I'm saying is, even though there's no direct proof that what he's doing is corrupt, it looks shady as fuck. You got a president practicing nepotism by putting his own family in the White House with White House jobs. That's what he did the first term. In the second term, it's gotten worse. Everything from taking jets to your own crypto to actually insider trading. I mean, the traditional Republican Party.
He lost the second one. When he had his whole family in there, when he ran again, he lost.
Okay, but that doesn't take away. But that doesn't take away from the fact that you put your family in there and they made a fortune.
But the crypto stuff is new. He wasn't saying he was doing all that before while he was running for office. This is new. Like I said, he's in the office now. Now he's doing it. You can't stop it. It wasn't like, hey, I'm going when I run, I'm going to start this crypto thing and I'm going to have it in there so I can make a lot of money.
No, you can't stop him. He has the power of the presidency behind him, but you could say something about it. The Republican Party ain't even complaining about it.
Because he uses his influence on getting them reelected. That's how he does it. So you're going to do what I want, or I'm going to have all my little followers right here be banging on your door, sending you death threats, and all this other stuff. Look, and if you think you could have security, you saw how I just took security away from the vice president, the ex-vice president, and all these other people. I could do that too. So they could knock on your door, hit you with a hammer in the head. Damn. Like stuff like that happens, right?
Yeah. You know what's surprising me, Nate? Is that you are orating this pretty well. You see what's happening, and yet you're still giving him a D. Can you explain that?
Because there has to be something. Nothing's 100%.
You're talking about hitting motherfuckers over the head because they don't agree with you. Like, what more do you need?
I get it. So, okay, let's hypothetically say when he was doing the border, maybe he did stop somebody from coming in. That was a mass murderer or whatever. You don't know. They can't be 100%. Look, even say if I just take a basketball and I'll just play around and I'll just keep throwing it. I'm not aiming for it, but one of them's going to go in.
Yeah. But
that's what I mean.
I get your
even if it benefits him, it may benefit you at some point.
I get your point, but let me just say it like this. When it comes to A, B, C, D, or F, you don't have to get a 0 on a test to get an F. You can get a 50 and that's still an F. So when you say you got some of the things right, you can get a 50 and that you have to get like a 60, a score of 60 out of 100 to get a D. So you can get quite a few of them right and still get an F. So I'm trying to figure out why you're giving this man a D if you're suggesting he's capable of all of the shit you just mentioned.
Because that's one letter above the F. I can't give him an E. You're going to say he's excellent. So it's one letter above. So,
all right.
So another thing, when you talk about the Putin and all that, why would he stop the war, right? If Trump is saying, hey, I want their minerals. That means Russia's going to lose those minerals too. That's why they in there trying to get their land.
I believe that.
So that's one. And then Putin, well, not even Putin, we caught him on a hot mic, put it on the news, saying, "Hey, I think he wants to do a deal with me." Remember when Trump was saying, "Hey,
and he's wrong about, and he's clearly wrong about that too."
But you think Putin didn't watch that? Look, I got this sucker.
Yeah.
Look, I got him.
Yeah.
Look at him. He's in there. He's shaking everybody's hand, and he's not. Hey, I think I got him to do a deal with Lewinsky. I mean, what's his name? I want him to do a deal with Trump, with me.
You talking about
like,
Zelensky?
You don't have
yeah.
nothing to do with this.
No.
Now, so the other day you were talking about the women that say that Trump, well, the Epstein files, right?
Yeah, I don't want to go too deep in there, but go ahead, bro. I'll let you wrap it up.
I know. But all that's going to always happen because there's NDAs. And so they take away NDAs. Things like that are going to slide by. Look at Karl Malone. He made an NDA.
Yeah.
He got a chick who was 13 years old pregnant. Ended up going to the NBA where everybody knew it. And because he signed that NDA, nobody could touch him. He went to make millions and everything else.
Yeah. That is what they should have is if your crime or your incident involved a minor, just like I don't care if a minor says she's attracted to you and she wants to sleep with you, it doesn't matter. She's not able to consent. That's how NDA should be. If a child is violated, the judge should any NDA concerning a child should be invalid. I mean, you can't hide what you did to a kid. That's what the law needs to change.
Or any crime, period. It doesn't just because you got money doesn't mean you should get away with something.
I'm with you.
Bloomberg, remember when he was running and the lady was like, "Yo, why don't you take away all the NDAs that you got with the women from the people who used to work for you and let them come out and speak?" And he dropped out, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. He sexually assaulted him or what? You should just because you have money, you shouldn't be able to get away with crimes.
Fair enough. I gotta move it on, but I will just say in Trump's case, I don't think even if some negative information came out about Trump, I think MAGA favors Trump so much that they would be willing to overlook most of that stuff. But we'll see what happens. Nate, appreciate you coming through.
All right.
Anytime. All right, moving on with the program, and I seen in the comments, Just an Average Mom. I appreciate your passion. Just an Average Mom, you've been putting in comments there. When I said you can get an F on a test, and you can get a lot of them right and still get an F. I saw you said something like Trump's gotten a lot of things right. I'd be curious to know some of those because I mean, at this point, you can point out a fair bit of things that Trump has gotten wrong as well. And I guess at that point, then it becomes a weigh-in of the significance of the things he's gotten right versus the things he's gotten wrong. Like, for instance, he secured the border. That's something that most Americans believe he's gotten right. We can talk about whether or not the way he did it was ethical or even legal, but fact is Trump has secured the border and most Americans wanted the border secure. That's something he's gotten right. Protecting the integrity of women's sports. Now, I make it clear that doesn't really affect hardly any American, but if you like Trump, that is something he's gotten right. So, but the significance of that is pretty weak to me because it doesn't affect many people. So that's what I said. When you say he's done a lot of things right, he's also done a lot of things wrong, and we'd have to weigh the significance of the things he's done right on the country versus the significance of things he's done wrong on the country. So that's how we go. Anyway, looking in the comments, Trump's approval rating is at an all-time low, as it should be, says Robert Wood. Well, I think the problem is what I just stated to Just an Average Mom is that his approval rating is dropping because a lot of his campaign promises are not coming true. That's what's happening. If Trump was up there saying promises made, promises kept, even being the typical Trump that he is, I think his approval ratings would be much higher. But the fact is, a lot of the things people voted for him for are not coming true. Whether it's the economy, whether it's Epstein, whether it's ending the wars. You know, remember the whole genocide, Joe has got to go. The folks over in Michigan voting against Kamala Harris and Joe Biden because they thought that they were sponsoring genocide. You think they're happy with Trump? You think any of them are happy over in any of that Muslim community that wanted to get rid of genocide Joe? You think they're happy now that Trump is in there? So his approval rating is dropping because a large portion of his campaign promises are not coming true. And then, of course, some of the things he's doing is going to drop his approval rating because they're things nobody expected, like removing TPS status from virtually everybody. Is there any group of people at all now that can still have TPS status? I think he removed TPS status from just about everybody, didn't he? So the folks that came via that way and then became legalized citizens probably don't favor doing that to the next group because he ran on getting rid of rapists and murderers, not getting rid of TPS. So yeah, his approval ratings are dropping because he's went far to the right and he's not meeting a lot of his campaign promises. If that changes, his approval ratings might change too. But remember, he fired the job statistics coordinator because the Q1 and Q2 job reports were dismal. Well, the new guy he has in there now, they're still releasing bad numbers. In fact, I believe the numbers they're releasing now are even worse than the ones that the other lady released that he fired her for. The job numbers are getting real bad. The inflation is about to go. I mean, his job numbers are bad. But here's what I don't understand. And by the way, tap the screen. We should be around 40,000. A lot of lazy thumbs in here. Tap the screen, get the likes up. If you're watching on YouTube, feel free to smash that like button. Here's what I don't understand. Why is Trump and his administration, and to a lesser degree his supporters, so shocked that his job numbers are low? He's literally, by way of Elon Musk, by way of Bobby Kennedy, by way of himself, they've been on a firing spree. Since Trump took office, everything you hear about employment has been them terminating people's jobs, busting unions, firing federal workers, USAID workers. I mean, why would you think your job numbers would be high? Or why would you think your job numbers would even be average? You've been firing people for like 7 straight months. People that work for you getting fired. Everywhere you look, people getting fired anyway. I don't understand why my job numbers are low. Is there any single industry at all that since President Trump became commander-in-chief has been hiring a lot of people? Have you heard of any business? Now, he's made promises that he's going to bring back jobs, but as of now, the first 8 months in, do you know of any industry that's been hiring a lot of people other than ICE? So why would he be shocked that his job numbers are low? You've been firing people for 8 straight months. That seems like that would be expected. Anyway, looking in the comments, no tariffs. The tariffs are in effect. Yeah, the tariffs are in effect. Americans answering for everyone doesn't cut it. What do you mean by Americans answering for everyone? Wow, you have a picture on your wall just like the Epstein on his desk. Yeah, we got pictures of the president and Vance. We used to have a picture of Biden and Harris when they were VP. That's the picture of our leaders of the day. If Gavin Newsom or somebody else becomes president, guess what'll be up? So understand this is on deck. If you're watching your monitor right now, you may see this in the background eventually. Who knows? But you see the leaders of the day. This is what's currently leading our country. That's why their pictures are up. We voted for him to downsize the government, though. Well, just an average mom. Like I said, his poll numbers are going down because he is not meeting his promises, such as what you just stated. You voted for Trump to downsize the government. Do you think deploying the National Guard in American cities is downsizing of the government? He's talking about taking over the empty buildings in D.C. and selling them off for real estate value. That's the mayor's job. He's actually taking over the mayor of D.C.'s job. Does that look like downsizing the government? So understand that the right tends to be for small government, states' rights. He seems to be just the opposite of that. I'm okay with states' rights as long as they're doing what I want them to do. The minute they don't do what I want them to do, I'm going to go into their state and I'm going to do it my way. That ain't states' rights. That's big government. What Trump is doing is big government. The 50,000 sign-on bonus was, wait a minute, what did you say there? Will, you said the 50,000 sign-on bonus was a rug pull. Oh, you're talking about ICE. Yeah, ICE did offer a $50,000 sign-on bonus. You're saying that's not true? They're not paying that? Wow. That would be a big lie. And by the way, that could lead to a major lawsuit going forward once Trump is out of office. Because the television commercials are everywhere. So if they offered you a $50,000 sign-on bonus and you joined ICE and you don't get it, that's a legitimate lawsuit. So, by the way, the $1,000 self-deport payout, there are people on YouTube that have been, deported back to other countries. There's a guy I watch all the time. He's been in Mexico since May. He lived in Texas for I think like 20-some years, and they ended up getting him, and he fought and appealed and lost. So he's self-deported finally. He lives down in Mexico, and he does live streams. And he stated that $1,000 is a lie. He said he got people he know that self-deported. They're not paying. Remember, they said if you self-deport, they'll give you $1,000. That ain't happening, according to him. I don't know. Have you heard of anybody bragging that they received it? So understand that. Anyway, let me go back to the box. Maybe age limits are required. Maybe 75 max age for a politician. 75? Maybe. I think that Trump is the oldest president we've ever had. And now he's talking about going for a third term, and MAGA's cool with that. So it is what it is. Gen X, fuck around and find out. They tried to recruit people for ICE with a 50,000 sign-on. The higher-ups were looking at each other crazy. Yeah, well, and then they changed the age limit and all kinds of stuff. I mean, you probably got people that are working for ICE that should not be in law enforcement. And that likely will come out in the future as well. You probably got people that are working for ICE that do not have this. They're like a Bobby Kennedy type person. You shouldn't have this job. And some of them probably have committed infractions that have been covered up. We'll see. Like I said, impeachments can come from everywhere. Gen X, good evening.
What's up, my brother from another mother?
Now you were one before Trump got elected. We were talking about if ICE were to pay people to turn in immigrants. You were like, you would buy a new Corvette. You would be turning them all in.
I'll buy me a Ferrari.
Oh my God! So what we're asking is this man losing respect globally? All of these world leaders now are defying him. He was a guy that, unlike Biden, that we were going to put in there, and leaders are going to respect him. Finally, we got a leader that's in the White House that everybody respects. They fear. Why is that not happening?
Well, it is happening. I think on the left, they're not letting it happening, or they're not reporting it. Let me read this on Google. The healthcare and social assistance sectors show the most consistent and largest job growth. Other notable sectors included professional, scientific, and technical services, and leisure and hospitality. While the manufacturing industry experienced job gains early, which might have decreased a little, this was followed.
Hold on. You're on Google. Wait a minute. You're on Google, but what is the source that Google is giving you this information from?
Dude, it's Google. You people, you liberals.
You're not.
Google.
You're not. No. Wait a minute. No. Gen X. When you go on Google and you type in something, Google goes through and finds what you're talking about and present it to you, but it's coming from somewhere else. Is there a news organization? You're not reading. That's not a Google information. That's coming from some. Is it AI?
I don't know if this is AI. I have no idea.
What did you? Okay, let's see if we can imitate what you did. What did you search? What did you type in the search bar?
Trump has. I put. God damn it! I fucking erased it. Put industries. Trump has been hiring a lot.
What industries Trump has been hiring a lot? That's a hell of a search.
Healthcare and social assistance, professional, scientific, and technical services, leisure and hospitality, and manufacturing.
Okay, now you put in I typed in what in Google, like you're on Google, what industries Trump has been hiring a lot. I put it in an actual quote. Based on the recent reporting from 2025, Donald Trump's hiring has occurred primarily in two sectors: his political operation for presidential transition, and within his business, the Trump Organization. That's what AI has said. I need to know where you're reading. What are you reading?
I'm reading the AI overview.
That's what I'm reading. Then you typed in something else. You didn't type in what industries Trump has been hiring a lot. I typed exactly what you typed in. You typed in something else.
Healthcare and social assistance, professional, scientific, and technical assistance.
Okay, wait. Look, I need you to do the simple task of finding out what you Googled. What phrase did you put in there? I need that. What did you type in to get this information?
Industries, since Trump has been hiring a lot, 2025.
Okay, wait a minute. Okay, what did you type this time? Industries. Understand, I'm typing the same thing you're typing, so I should get the same thing you got. Industries, what else?
Has been hiring a lot. Industry since Trump has been hiring a lot.
Industries since Trump has been hiring a lot. Where the hell did you get that grammar from? All right, I'm going to put that in there. Industries since Trump has been hiring a lot. That's what you put in there, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and on mine it says, based on recent reporting from 2025, Donald Trump's hiring has occurred primarily in two sectors: his political operation for presidential transition and within his business, the Trump Organization. Do you see that on your screen?
Yep.
Okay. Then what the hell are you reading?
The bottom part.
Following
the
his
AI overview.
Okay, that's what that is, the AI overview. That's exactly what we're reading. That's exactly what it says is the AI overview. You type something else in, or you went to some. Let me ask it to you this way: when you look at your, when you look at the long website address up there, it starts out with something.com. What's in that? What's the first part of that?
Industry since Trump has been hiring a lot.
That's not a website. There's something. Look at the browser web address. There's something there that came up. Once you type in your Google, your web browser's address is going to change up there. What came up there?
Oh shit! That's you're talking Google.com search what industry since Trump lot SCA equals EVA.
All right, okay. So that part sounds right, but I'm not seeing anything what you got, because it says also, it continues on. It says following his victory in 2024 presidential election, Trump is focused on staffing his incoming administration. This activity represents the largest and most significant area of his recent hiring efforts and involves a wide range of roles. Most of the hiring he's done has been people that work for him, is what it's saying. That's where the hiring is going, is people that work for him.
And where's the problem?
Most Americans don't work for Trump.
Actually, the majority of us do.
What the hell? What do you do for a living that makes you work for Trump?
Everything I do makes me work for Trump because he's making America better.
I'm talking about shit you get paid for. What are you doing that puts food on your table that's working for Trump?
I build computers and I do websites.
You're building them for the Trump administration?
Hopefully soon, but no, not right now.
You're never going to be building. He got all of Elon people.
You caught me in a catch-22, motherfucker.
I've been catching you since you came on this live, goddammit. What are you talking about? So let me just say it like this.
You're good.
Let me just say it like this. The job numbers came out today. It's dismal. Unemployment is the highest it's been since the pandemic. And what you tried to do is type in a search that is going to skew things in one direction. And obviously, when I started questioning you on it, it fell apart. But the job numbers are bad right now. That's all I'm saying. The job numbers are bad right now. If they were good, I'd give them credit for it. They're not. They're bad.
When are you coming to Montana to visit me?
What's going on in Montana?
I will pick you up at the airport in a Lincoln Continental, and we will go to whatever restaurant you want to go to, brother.
What am I going to be? You're going to pick me up in a Lincoln Continental. What am I going to be, the black kid on Tulsa King? I'm driving you around like the black guy on Tulsa King?
I'll bring Austin with me. He's a black brother. He's a good dude, man. He's a Proud Boy and one of the people I love the most.
So they do actually have black people in the Proud Boys?
Yeah, we got a lot of black dudes in the Proud Boy. Dude, we're not against black, white, brown, whoever. We're against stupidity.
You sound like the opening of a Bone Thugs and Harmony. We're not against black people. but we are against those thugs. You sound like a opening to Bone Thugs and Harmony music. I know you don't know what I'm talking about, but there's a song that opens up just like you just said. But listen, I would visit Montana. I don't know about the Proud Boys. I'd have to look that up a little bit more. I've never heard of black people honoring the Proud
Dude,
Boys.
I'll even give you a hat. Let me ask you this, Tim.
Sure, what you got?
Are you against stupidity? Serious question. Are you against stupidity?
Listen, I don't favor it, but I mean, we're all stupid at something.
Yeah, fair enough. Me included. I'll be the first one to fucking admit that.
Okay.
But here's my point. We're not against blacks. We're not against whites. We're not against Indians. We're not against Asians.
Okay.
We're against stupidity. That's what we don't like. Brother, you would do good. I think you need a fucking black and yellow fucking Perry Ellis.
So you telling me I would do well in the Proud Boys?
Brother, you would be a fantastic Proud Boy.
Okay. That is something I would certainly have to look up. I've never heard anybody say something like that, but I do got to move it on, Gen X.
Your tag on your shirt.
What?
It's yellow and black.
This is a presidential seal.
Yeah. Yellow and black. You see what I'm saying?
I actually picked this up across the street from the White House before they had all those military personnel. Actually, somewhere right down the street from the White House in some of those gift shops. So I actually purchased this in D.C. right long before they had the military there. I don't know if I would go there now, though.
Looks good on you, brother. Whatever it is, I'll tell you this. You look better in Hawaiian shit.
I gotta go. Gen X, appreciate you coming through.
All right, Tim, love you, brother. If you need anything, you give me a call. And you're always welcome to come visit us in Montana, my friend.
All right. Thank you. Moving on with the program, by the way, tap the screen, folks. Get us on up to, the likes category is low as hell in here tonight. My God, is this show that bad? I can't get 40,000 out of you folks. Tap the screen. Get the likes on up. I just real quick, I think I have this queued up. This is what I was talking about.
We're not against rap. We're not against birds. But we are against those thugs.
I know some of you folks have heard that before. He really made me think of that. I'm sure some of you folks know that song, and I don't want to play it anymore for copyright purposes, but I'm sure some of you know exactly, have heard that before. Anyway, tap the screen, get us on up to about 35,000. We can make that happen if you let your thumbs not be lazy. Thuggish, Ruggish, Bones, Dirt in 46, yes. That's the first thing that came to my mind when he said that. If the Proud Boys were against stupidity, Gen X certainly wouldn't be a member. LOL. Okay. All right. So we're talking about, I want to go back into that whole thing about what's going on in Arkansas. Do you agree with one of my callers we had on here earlier that said, listen, we all need farmers. If they not producing, we not eating. Everybody needs these farmers in Arkansas to do well. Should we bail out the folks in Arkansas that literally voted for their demise? Should we bail them out? Because Arkansas is an overwhelmingly red state, and the things they're crying about happened because Trump became president. So they voted for their demise. Should we bail them out? That's what I want to know. Look in the comments real quick here before we continue on, because you're pissing people off. What is happening? It isn't a left or right issue at this point. Everything is a left or right issue. Certainly in regards to this situation in Arkansas, this is not something that would have happened under Kamala Harris. They're literally crying out that the tariffs are why they're hurting. You would not have had the tariffs under Kamala or Joe Biden, and you would not have had the mass deportations, even though the country wanted the immigration problem to be under control. But the mass deportations are hurting farmers. That's one of the main areas they work in. None of that would have happened under Kamala Harris or Joe Biden. So this is coming from Trump. So you say it's not a left or a right thing. It is. Well, put it this way, it's a Trump thing, because I'm not even sure the other 9 candidates running against Trump, the Tim Scott, Nikki Haley was running. The governor of North Dakota, who's on the Trump administration, he was running. I think Chris Christie was in there. I said Nikki Haley. All of them were. I don't think any of them. Ron DeSantis was in that group. I don't think any of those folks. Vivek Ramaswamy wouldn't have even done it probably. So under any of those folks, you were not going to get Liberation Day style tariffs, and you were not going to get a mass exodus of immigrants. Ron DeSantis would have been okay with deporting some folks, but not to the level of Trump. Not to the level of Trump. And I will also say, Trump is doing things that the right are supporting that they probably would not support if it was coming from any of those other candidates. I mean, everybody from Vivek to Tim Scott to Ron DeSantis, none of them are going to get the blind love and support and adoration that Trump gets from the right. The right would support any of them over Kamala Harris or Joe Biden, but they're not going to, like the Epstein stuff. I don't think Ron DeSantis being hesitant to release the Epstein files is going to get a pass like Trump is getting. Tim Scott's not going to get a pass. Vivek Ramaswamy's not going to get a pass. Nikki Haley's not going to get a pass. So he's getting the benefit of the doubt and getting a pass from the right that in a lot of ways that none of them other candidates would have gotten. Will G says it's not the only time Trump screwed the farmers. He did the same thing in his first term. The farmers knew what they were getting. I don't know if I can agree somewhat. I think Trump is taking it so much further this time. Certainly with the mass deportations and even the tariffs. Trump talked about tariffs during his first presidency, but the unrestricted loyalty of his administration, of Congress, of the Senate, to some degree the Supreme Court, he can really do anything at this point. So whatever the farmers voted for after the first term, because Trump's economy during the first term was good up to the pandemic. I mean, he's known for having a good economy during his first term until the pandemic hit. He's less than a year into this economy, and it's bad already. He was riding high off the first term. He's doing much worse economically this second go round than he was the first go round. Are the farmers concerned with the loss of the hospitals or insurance? Not yet, but they will be. The hospitals haven't started closing up yet. So the answer is the jury's still out on that. But my guess is they are going to be very, very unhappy when these rural hospitals start closing because of the cuts in the big, beautiful bill. And to me, it just looks so insensitive to do this stuff when the news is saying that Trump has made his family over $6 billion in a year. These people are losing their lifeblood in these little areas and shit. And you voted for a dude that's getting paid like that. You're going to have probably some folks on the right that are going to get angry about that. But we'll see. We'll see. Let me go back to the box. Tap the screen. Get us on up to 40,000. We'll take the next call at 40,000. The hospital was closing. Well, no, just an average mom. No, the thing is the cuts in the big, beautiful bill is going to lead to rural hospitals, plural, closing. A lot of things in this country operate off of federal subsidies. Poor states like Mississippi and Alabama, they don't have enough money to run a lot of this shit. A lot of the stuff in this country comes from federal coffers. Areas like California that we criticize all the damn time, and areas like Illinois and areas like New York where all of the money and the population is, their federal tax dollars cover these rural areas. A lot of their money covers this shit. You go through a town and the population is only 600 people, yet they got roads and bridges in that town. You think they paying for that shit? No, they not. So that's where the money is coming from. It's coming from the federal coffers. So Trump cut a lot of federal subsidies. And a lot of these rural hospitals, their bread and butter is coming from the federal government. So when he cut that, a lot of these hospitals are like, we're not going to be able to maintain operation. So yeah, a lot of rural hospitals are expected to close. If they come from call first, then they go, what are you saying in no reply? If they come from call first, then they go all into one pot. And once they're in the pot, it's no longer from anywhere but that pot. Okay, I don't understand quite what you're trying to say there, but we'll continue on with the program. Gates to Grandma, good evening. Welcome to the show. Should we bail out the farmers? I want to know that. Should we bail out the farmers? Gangsta Grandma, good evening.
You are special ed dropout tonight. On God, you really are. Oh, Trump's economy was so good. No, it fucking wasn't. Not in the first term. We had tariffs then too, dipshit.
During Trump's first term,
Why do you think the farmers needed to fix?
I'm just saying.
Yes, you did. I mean, where the fuck have you been? His first term was shitty too, because they had to bail out the farmers, you dick fuck. Because of what? Because of what? His tariffs.
During his first
Washer dryers was going crazy.
During his first term, Gangsta, most Americans favored his economy before the pandemic.
That was Obama's economy.
He was president.
Well, hell yeah, what the hell?
He was president.
Yeah, it was too. It was Obama's. Because he came in, it was going through the roof. Like it was going through the roof of Biden. And then he fucked it all up. So what the hell?
So,
okay,
so let me ask it to you
I
this
swear to God, you motherfuckers are specialized dropouts.
So let me ask it to you this way. If during Trump, hang on. If during his first year in office, during his first term, if that was Obama's economy, then that means right now we're still in Biden's economy.
No, Pookie, Ray, Uncle Tom.
That's what you said.
Ratty Raccoon.
That's
no,
what
you ain't gonna pull that fuck shit. Let me tell you something. He rode on the black man's BBC the first fucking go time, okay? He didn't really hardly do shit until he put the damn tariffs in. This time, he's like, oh, I gotta love me some tariffs. And start putting them all over the damn place. He fucked Biden's shit all the way fucked up. So please don't come up and say, oh, this is Biden. No, bitch. No, we ain't going there. Not tonight.
I'm just going to tell you, during his first term, people thought he did a decent job.
People thought, because they're uneducated, the fucking morons, and every damn thing else. We got a lot of uneducated idiots in this country, okay? Because the farmers are one of them. Why would you vote for a dumb fuck that only screwed you over the first damn time? But oh yeah, I'm praising my orange Jesus. I want to squeeze that fucking orange. You know what I mean? I want to squeeze it. And he's going to screw you fucking in the ass without a condom again. And guess what? They're crying right now, Pookie. They're crying right now. Oh, I need it. I need the bailout. Fuck you and your bailouts. How about that?
Well, I'm going to tell you, this is one of the areas where I don't disagree with you. I mean, the farmers voted for their own demise. But I want to ask you this, though. Should we bail them out?
No. You know what? They didn't believe us. They didn't believe none of us. When we talk about Project 2025, what cycles ain't going to happen? 50% of Project 2025 is coming. It's already happening. You know what I mean? And you know what? Fuck the damn Muslims that voted for him. Fuck you. Because now Palestine is going to be fucking rebel. And I don't give a fuck. I give two fucks about those people over there. Because you know why? Because the motherfuckers, they sold us out. What is it called? The Muslims, the non-voters, the three-party voters, the white liberals, the far leftists. Oh, the G side, Joe. Well, guess what, bitch? It's happening. I don't give a fuck now. I don't give a damn. Our house is burning.
Yeah, but I mean, if you care, couldn't we turn some of the house burning around?
Well, we have to. We have to fight now to get our shit back. But this all this shit was all behind hate. All this shit was all behind, I don't want a black woman in the fucking office. Ooh. Oh, G.I. Biden. And Biden was stopping Israel. Biden was stopping him. Didn't put the boom booms in? No, nothing. Now we got boom booms. People are starving. Oh, well. I don't give a damn no more. F-A-F-O.
So how do we come together if all of the people don't give a damn about each other?
Hey, You know what? You voted for racism. You voted for hate. You don't like us black and brown folks. Good. Now eat your shit, bitch. Because the blue states, we're not gonna pay for it no more. Because now we gotta pay for our own, don't you think? Now the red state's gonna be all FOFA.
You got the letter.
Shit. I'm so sick of saying it. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And let me tell you something else. You need to get educated. The border is not secure like you think it is. The only reason people do not want to come here because it's cruel and stuff. People from overseas don't want to come and give vacation. They don't even want to come. I don't fucking blame them.
I disagree with you saying that people don't want to come here. Some don't.
No, look at this one. Look at this little idiot motherfucker said. Exactly what the left wanted. Ultimate divide. No, bitch, it's your white people that did it. From the right side. Trump did the shit, bitch. So quit sucking on his cock.
Well, I see a little.
Don't well me now. That's tonight. Not tonight. Do not well me tonight.
I will choke the fuck out you. Okay, Gangster Grandma, you're talking about Just an Average Mom in the comments that said that. Now, Just an Average Mom is right. Both sides are divisive. Trump is to me, Trump is.
Bullshit.
Hold on.
Shit.
Hold on.
No, we are fucking not. Go the fucking hell. And go quit sucking on a white woman. You fucking anti-fluffy, you're fucking fluffy. Well, all against all this. No, fuck you.
You didn't hear what I was about to say. I believe
we're not the divisive ones. Who brought the shit in? Who brought the triple K up in this bitch? Who brought the Proud Boys up in this shit? Who brought the who's good on the both sides? Who did all that?
Okay.
Who did all that shit?
Okay, what I was about to
fucking Lord Jesus that needs to out alive. Because you know why? Who died? Who died? 2 people died already. We need 1 more. Can we squeeze the fucking juice?
Okay. What I was about to say is that although I see divisive rhetoric coming from both sides, Trump is at the top of the pyramid. That I believe he sparks it all. I mean, because we're not going to.
Shit.
You're not.
Fuck you, no. We are not the ones. We want people to mind their fucking business. We want people. If you're gonna fucking sleep with a man, sleep with a man. We don't give a damn. Leave trans people fuck alone. How's that divisive? Oh no, you like the Ritz crackers, don't you? You like them, don't you? Oh well, they don't. They don't like trans people, but they like to fuck them though, right? The conservative men like to fuck them in the ass, right? Yeah.
I don't know anything about that. Right? I don't know anything about that.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Conservative white men love trans women, especially the black ones. Oh, I got evidence. I got receipts. So don't go there with me, okay? They do not like that. Yeah, I sure did. And I would.
Okay.
Motherfuckers that cause N-words and every damn thing else. Get your taste your own damn medicine.
Okay, well.
And then, what else? What else have they done to us? We want people to mind their business, stay in their fucking lane, keep people on, give people the assistance that they need and every damn thing else, right? Right. What are we divided?
Okay.
What?
Hold on, hang on. You're not letting me. You're not letting me.
Black history?
You're not letting me. Okay, gangster.
So why are we divided?
You're not letting me get a word in. You're just going on and on and on.
Your ass is going to say what dividing people. I wish we could shut the white man back to fucking Europe. Let them go. Fuck.
Are we having a conversation or are you just talking?
No, because your ass is going to say we're divisive. We're not the ones.
Okay.
Who's bringing all the divisive laws in? Who's the one saying that transgenders can't be real, can't be in the military, can't love who they say? Who's taking away gay marriage? Who is taking away black history?
And I see in the comments, Will G said Biden actually saved us from Trump's first term. So you said once Trump. What'd you say? Okay. So when I say that we're not going to be a unified country unless we have unity starting from the top, that's why I say Trump is at the top of the pyramid promoting the division. But there is division all over the place.
You're a fucking ratty raccoon, I swear to God.
What does this got to do with being a raccoon?
I fucking swear to God, you're a ratty rat fucking coon. You really fucking are. I swear to fucking God. You know what? Go over there to the Cowboy house. See where the fuck you going to end up. Say who the fuck is the vice. See, I'm telling the fucking truth. I stand 10 toes down. I don't give a fuck about the damn white team maggots are about, and I don't give a fuck about the brown and the black ones because they all fucking in the same damn thing.
Hold on one second. I want to read this comment. Melissa, you asked, did I hear the Speaker of the House say that Trump was an informant for the FBI? Yes, I did. I didn't look into it. Otherwise, I would have mentioned it in this show. But I am aware of that because they were talking about it on News Nation, that it appears as if Trump, as opposed to going after the deep state, he may have worked with him. I am aware that happened. That may come up tomorrow.
Bullshit. That motherfucker, they tried everything not to get the files released. They so tried everything. Now he's a popo. Okay? The white team man is the popo. Yeah, right. Okay. The felon worked for the feds.
Draco says, obviously she's demon possessed. What are you saying? My guest is possessed by a demon?
Yes, bitch, I'm so demon possessed with chocolate all up in my fucking mouth right now. Hell fucking to the yeah. Chocolate caramel. Fuck yeah. What the fuck? I'm demon. That's your fucking. That's why you call you motherfuckers white devil.
Jesus Christ.
That's why they call you motherfuckers the white devil.
Okay, that's racist, gangster.
You know what? No, it's not. No, it's not. The white devil, no. You can't say triple K. We can't say it. It's not.
White?
They call us the N-words. You let people call you colored. You say you don't mind them calling you N-word.
White devil?
Are you fucking for real? And you want to come and check my fucking black ass? Get the fuck out of here. They are the white tea devil.
The whole race?
They are the white tea devil. What the fuck?
The whole race of people?
They're the worst people. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. I'm saying the maggots, they are the worst. They're pew-pewing up our schools. They are the highest criminals of the United States. Is a white teen man. So what the fuck are you talking about? What are you
talking about? You just said they're pew-pewing the schools. The last school to be pew-pewed in Minneapolis, that wasn't MAGA, that was a liberal.
What color was he, you get fuck?
The trans?
Was he a black man?
He's trans.
Was he a Mexican?
He was trans.
But what color was he?
He was white.
What color was he?
He was white, but he wasn't MAGA.
Bullshit. He was a white male.
You said MAGA. You said MAGA. You said MAGA.
White looking. That's how he did it. He was a white male. Have you noticed this shit? White men are doing it. I don't give a fuck if he was trans or he was straight. He was white. That's the whole fucking point.
But why are you saying...
They are the worst of the worst.
But wait a minute, hold on. Why are you saying it was a white male? As a liberal, you should understand that this person was trans. Get the pronoun right. That was a woman. That person identified as a woman.
What? No. See, we ain't going there. He identified as a woman.
Right.
But his gender, there's two different types, honey bunny. So don't go there. He's identified as a woman, okay? But he is genetically a male, okay?
Come on, gangster.
They know this, just like a trans woman
Gangster.
is identified as a woman, but is a male.
You can't play both sides of the fence. No. You can't play both. Listen.
That's not playing.
Yes, it is.
Oh my fucking shit.
Yes, it is. If this individual,
you say you're a fucking.
Hear me out. If this individual was not, hold on. We gotta have a conversation. Let's have a conversation. If this individual was not pew-pew in the school and was identifying as a woman, you would be calling him a woman. You would be protecting trans rights.
Oh my, that's not what I'm saying. He identified as a woman.
So that was a woman.
What I'm saying. He is a trans woman. biological male. So what the fuck is your issue? Like if there's a trans man, they are biologically a female, but they identify as a male, as a man. What is you not comprehending? What the fuck, man? And you say you're smart? He's still white, and he's a male.
The only reason you're calling this person a male is they puked it up in school. If this same individual was on the View with a guest spot, you'd be calling them a woman.
I would still say the same. I'll still say the same.
No, you wouldn't.
So what the fuck are you talking about?
This would be
they identify as a woman, but they are genetically a male.
You're only calling
You cannot get with that.
You're only calling this person a man.
Right.
You're only calling him a man because you can bang Trump with it. If this person was not
that's
pupil,
not true.
Yes, it is.
I have a trans son. Okay, you damn dum. He is a he. Okay, but biologically, he is a female.
The only time a liberal would say he is a he is when they got some kind of agenda. This would be a woman if they weren't pupil in the school.
That's not true. That's not true. Well, they can't call themselves a female. A trans woman can never call themselves a female. Why do you think that is, dipshit?
Is that how they
think a trans woman cannot call themselves a female? They can only call themselves a woman.
What the difference?
Why?
What is the difference between a woman and a female?
Are you fucking? Oh my fucking god! I cannot with you. I cannot.
You're starting to make me want to vote Republican. I don't get this. What is the difference between a woman and a female?
Well, you already want to vote Republican because you like the cock in your fucking mouth and the uncooked protein dripping from your mouth.
Well, the liberals sound like the liberal women have cocks themselves. Clear this up for me. What's the difference between a woman and a female?
Really?
That's what you
What's
just.
A female? What is a female?
A female is someone that has the appropriate chromosomes, born with a vagina, ovaries. That's what I'm thinking.
All right, dipshit.
So what's the difference between a woman and a female?
You're gonna get schooled.
What is the difference between a woman and a female?
Umbrella for women, okay? Women has an umbrella, okay? So it could be trans women and women, okay? There's two different kinds, trans women and women, Pookie. But when they go in society, they go social, they call themselves a woman. What is it you don't comprehend?
I don't.
Because if you're talking about a female, you know I'm a female, Pookie.
You want to know what it is I don't comprehend? I don't comprehend how any liberal could say what you just said and wonder why they lost in 2024. That's what I don't understand.
No, you ain't playing that fuck shit. Why we lost is for fucking pure hate. Why we lost is for fucking pure hate.
I have no hate at all. I'm confused in a motherfucker from what you just. What is the difference between a female and a woman? I mean, what the hell is? What are you talking about?
It's just you call us. I don't give a fuck personally. You know what I mean? I really don't give a fuck. Okay, a woman is a woman, but there's different kinds of fucking women. There's trans women and there's women. What you motherfuckers don't get, but biologically. They are male.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Okay, let me ask you this then. Okay, you said there's different types of women, a trans woman. So, but you separate the difference between a woman and a female. So, can a trans woman go into a female restroom?
Duh.
So then they the same thing then.
We're more safer that way.
You don't see this as confusing?
No, bitch, no. It's confusing for fucking dum-dums.
You told me.
They're biologically a male and a female. But they're living their life and living their truth as a woman or a man.
So a trans woman is actually a man, correct?
No, it's a male.
What's the difference between a man and a male?
Oh my goddamn fucking god! I cannot deal with you.
Confusing. You're hurt. You're gonna just.
No, because you're just stupid. You're stupid, man. You're fucking stupid.
You're destroying my.
A man is an umbrella. A man is an umbrella. Okay? I can identify as a man.
Oh my god, that was funny. You're
a male. I cannot say I'm a male because I'm not biologically a male. My God, I cannot right now. I cannot right now.
You are destroying my feeble little liberal mind. You're confusing the hell out of me.
Because you don't know. You cannot understand a man as an umbrella of different men.
Give me the different types of men. Give me the different types of men. What are you talking about?
A social term. You get fucked. That's why you guys need to go back to fucking school.
They didn't teach this when I was in school.
Well, damn. Oh my fucking God. Then you need to go get your GED. A man is a social term. A female is biological. A woman is social. I swear to God. I fucking swear. That's why our education system needs an upgrade, not a degrade, because motherfuckers like you don't even know what a man is. One social and one biological. I mean, good God, you got a dick too.
I'm confused. I gotta go.
Are you serious?
I gotta go, but I'm confused.
You're 54 fucking years old.
Not quite.
And you don't know what's so, oh my fucking God, we are so fucking screwed. We are so screwed. Because you really don't know what a man and what a male is the difference. This is really embarrassing to a black nigga making black men fucking dumb. One is a social concept, and the one is biological. My God.
I was always under the impression, maybe it's my fault, Gangsta Grandma, but I was always under I was always under the impression that a man and a male are the same thing.
No, one is that's what I'm saying. The umbrella. Like there's women out there. It's an umbrella of women. Like there's trans women. Okay? There's biological women. That's why they call us females. That's why they don't like the word cis. You know, like medical term. Because we are biological. Oh, that's a female. Woman is social. That's why I gotta get fucked up with you because I did not know that. Oh my fucking God.
I gotta go. You've taught me a little bit.
Before you let me go, let me tell you something.
Real quick.
Okay? You need some education in your life. This is really embarrassing. You're 54 years old and didn't even know what a male and what a man is. I cannot.
All right. I'll let you educate me as we go, and I got to move it on. Gangsta Grandma, appreciate it. Now, real quick, I'm not 54, by the way. Getting close, but not 54. But I will say this, though. When she says that, for my age, I need to get some education and things like that, I don't think what folks don't understand is I'm Gen X. We were not taught any of the things she just mentioned in school. I watched everything from Electric Company to Sesame Street as a kid. None of what she is talking about was on television, was in schools or any of that. So when you say you need to get some education, I mean, I got 3 college degrees. We were never, this is the same thing. I was talking to a member of the LGBT community, and I consider myself an ally of the LGBTQ community too, by the way. I do consider myself an ally, but I am an old dog. It's hard to teach old dogs new tricks. For instance, I got into a big argument, or better yet, I got attacked by a member of the LGBTQ community, similar to what she just did, because a person that was in the box talking on TikTok, the person that I was looking at, looked extremely feminine, and I was using the pronouns she and her, and the individual was pissed off and cussing me out because I was not calling them and they. And I told that individual at the time, I went to school in the 70s and 80s. We never used the term they or them in a singular form. Then I threw it kind of a joke out there. If I called my boy and said, I need you to get over here and help me out, they kicking my ass. They don't expect to come and see one person beating me up. If I say I need you to help me get them off my back, they don't expect it to be one individual that looks like a female. They would probably let me continue getting my ass beat for the poor grammar. So what I'm saying is, she's right. I'm not educated. I'm not gonna disagree with her because I was brought up in a different time. I was brought up in a time where you would fail English class if you use the pronouns the way they're using them today. I'm an old dog. I'm an old dog. I got educated years ago on things as simple as pronouns. What stuff that she was saying today, I cannot imagine standing in front of the class in 3rd, 4th, or 5th grade trying to explain to my fellow students and the teacher the difference between a man and a male, or the difference between a female and a woman, and talking about umbrellas and things that she was. None of that stuff would have worked during the time I was in school. And not only that, but considering I'm a Gen X, the generation after me is called the millennials. I don't even think it worked in their generation. I don't even think as a millennial, you would have been able to use that stuff. That's very modern shit. That's stuff that is probably more like after the 2000s. You know, what do they call it? What are the new generations now? Alpha and Z and all of this other shit? I don't know, but that would not have worked in my generation. You would have failed the class talking about there's a difference. You go in biology talking about there's a difference between a man and a male. Look, I'm not trying to rain on the modern day language of the LGBTQ community. I get it, but that ain't how I was brought up. And this is what I told the individual I was talking to, is that you're attacking me when I consider myself an ally of your community, but you need to understand it's going to take me a long time to get used to calling one person they or one person them. It just doesn't compute to say it. It doesn't compute to say a single individual is a they or a them. It'll take a while for me to get used to that because it just doesn't sound grammatically correct. Looking in the comments though, it's very new. It was not part of the millennial education. Yeah, I don't even think you got to be probably 20, you know, in your maybe 25-ish or so for you to have been taught that in schools. You probably were born after September 11th. That's how recent that is. You probably were born after September 11th. Somebody said stupid people use pronouns. No, everybody uses pronouns. They just don't use them in a way everybody says he, him, she, her. That's a pronoun. We've been doing that since the beginning of time. It's just that they're using them in ways now that nobody's familiar with, or nobody grew up that way. Pronouns changes persons to person. If it's something I do not get either, I try to be respectful, but that's the best I can do, and I hope that is enough. And that's the kind of way I feel about it too. Neil's in. I'm like that too. I try to be respectful. I consider myself an ally of the community. But what I don't like, kind of what Gangsta Grandma was doing to me, you got to understand you're talking to old dogs that consider themselves an ally of your cause. Don't attack them. There are people who really hate your cause. These are not those people. They're just getting some of the pronouns wrong because they were brought up in a different way. These are not the people you should be attacking. Because like I told her, shit, you're making me want to vote Republican the way you're attacking me. I'm an ally, goddammit. I just don't know the pronouns. Work with me. So I just think the Liberal Party sometimes cannibalizes its own, and that can be a problem in itself. Looking in the comments, though, that's because they are not a them. We would have to unlearn all that we know and start over. Yeah, and the problem is half of the country ain't going to unlearn it. So that makes it even more complicated. You're not going to teach these pronouns probably in places like Alabama and Georgia, rural Georgia. They're not even going to teach this shit. So half of the country is still going to be brought up the way I was. And then the other part of the country is going these, those, days, and them. So it's going to be complicated. Real quick before we move on to the next caller. You're gonna cause this woman a heart attack. she white. Okay, well, my last guest is not white. She says she's an African. Well, she's part Dominican, I think. She's not white though. Gangsta grandma's not white. You said I'm going to give her a heart attack though. Listen, Gangsta grandma comes. She brings the noise every time. So I'm used to Gangsta grandma's a friend of the program. Sex chromosomes are more complicated than you think, even among animals. I don't disagree with that. I'm just simply saying we were brought up in school a certain way, and we never refer to one person as a they or as a them. We've never done that. So you're talking to somebody my age, understand it's going to take time to get them on. I mean, it's like trying to really find a guy my age and get them to listen to, something that they didn't grow up with. You know how music, I was going to say some hardcore rap, but we all grew up on that. But you know what I'm saying. You try to find a 70-year-old and get them to listen to Cardi B. It ain't going to work. I mean, so, we all grew up doing things a different way. Each generation did. And when it comes to the English language, nobody called each other they or them as a singular person. Going back to the box, tap the screen, get us up to 60,000 would be kind of you. Just an average mom. Saw you in the comments. Good evening. Welcome to the program.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing good. Good to have you on. Now you've been tearing people apart in the comments. What am I getting wrong?
Not necessarily getting things wrong. I just like to put my input in. I mean, whenever people say that Trump hasn't done it, listen, I'm one for calling out both sides on everything. I have views on both sides that I agree with.
Let me start up by asking you this, and I'll give you plenty of time. Let me start up by asking you this. When it comes to letter grades, I did one of my other guests like this: A, B, C, D, and F. That's what we got in high school when we were coming up, different grades. What letter grade would you give Trump so far, 8 months in?
I think right now I'd give him a B.
Okay, better than average.
And that's not even grace. It's because it's only 8 months in. So I'll be honest.
So better than average. Give me some of the things because you mentioned earlier in the comments he's done some things right. Give me some of his achievements so far.
So I do agree that gas prices have gone down. I agree that grocery prices have gone down. The border crisis has gotten better. The border is closed. Getting the criminal immigrants, not necessarily immigrants that haven't broken any laws. Like, I don't agree with that part of it, but getting the violent.
That's most of them.
Have broken.
Yeah, that's most of them.
I know. Yeah, I have to make that distinguishing line though, because there's parts I agree with and parts that I don't, right? So there are some that have done really bad things and they need to go, that they should have gone a long time ago. Like the one that attacked
Lincoln Riley.
What was her name?
Lincoln Riley.
Yes, exactly. Should have gone a long time ago, right?
Okay.
So those type of criminals, they should have gone.
Okay.
I agree with that. The people that are just working, contributing to the economy, doing what they do, fine. I'm okay with that.
And that's most of them.
I know. What else did I said economy.
You talked about fuel and gas prices, so I guess that would be the economy. You mentioned groceries and fuel prices. You mentioned he's gotten the border under control. Now you're talking about getting rid of criminal immigrants. That's what you've mentioned so far.
Yeah, and then lowering the tax. The big beautiful bill does have. I hate calling it that, by the way, but it does have some good things in it.
Give me some examples.
Some good things.
What's in it that's good?
Like the DOD, it has great things in it for the DOD. I'm prior military, and my husband's still military. So there's some good things in that for them. Our youngest ranks of the military were living below the poverty line, and that has gone into effect to where they got a pretty substantial raise. To try and correct that.
I haven't heard. I can't speak favorably or criticize. I have not heard that. But keep going.
Yeah. And then I do appreciate that he's put into the Department of Immigration so that they can build it up and do what they need to do to make corrections, and not just like so they can arrest people. I want them to work on the system. I want them to work on getting more people in the courts. I want them to work on getting more people to have court dates, work on the process to.
He ain't doing none of that. He's just kicking people out. He ain't trying to give you court dates. He didn't allocate more money for judges. He just kicking people out.
Right, but see, my thought process is for the people that have not applied to, like, taking the relief off of the court systems, right? So there's like a boggle down on the court systems with people getting arrested and getting court dates that haven't applied and haven't done it correctly. And so remove them from the equation, and then that opens up the court systems to be able to get the people through that have done that.
Yeah, I'm not
and it also opens them up so that they can make changes in the system to figure out what they need to do to fix the broken system.
Yeah, see, my observation is basically when Trump got in office, the order went down. If you can deport the person, deport them. If you can find anything on them, I don't care if they had a what do you call it, a visa violation from 10, 15 years ago. Anything you can find to deport them, deport them. I don't think it's about finding room to have more court cases. I think it's about deporting as many people as you can find. Any excuse you can find to deport them, deport them. That's what I'm seeing.
Right, and that's what I think it is right now. I'm hoping that through this process, that will be the end goal, is to correct and work on our immigration system as a whole.
But there is no money in the big. There's no money allocated in the big. Yeah, there's no money allocated in the big beautiful bill to correct our immigration system. All of the money being allocated is to kick people out. They're not trying to do anything to make the system more favorable, like more judges and stuff. Every penny they're spending is to find out ways to kick people out. So they're not trying to fix the system. They're trying to make it so that I don't think they want people to come in here legally or other. Now they're telling you we are okay with immigration, just come here legally. But even a lot of the paths to come here legally, they've cut out. TPS was a legal path. Asylum seeking was a legal path. They're getting rid of people with green cards and shit. So they're not trying to fix the system. They're trying to deport as many people as possible.
That's where I agree with you. This administration, I don't believe, wants immigrants coming in.
Right.
But my hope is, so it's already done, right? This is what's happening in this administration. My hope is, even though I don't agree with them taking everybody out like this, right? My hope is that by unboggling the system, by new presidents coming in, because let's face it, there's going to be new presidents coming in, that we'll have an opportunity to really take a hard look at our immigration system and make some real changes from it. It's unfortunate that this is happening right now, because I'll be honest, the only thing I voted for was to get the criminal immigrants out. I didn't vote to get immigrants that are just doing their jobs and living here and not causing any problems. I didn't vote for them to leave the country. I just wanted the ones that were unaliving people and raping people, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
That was a few amount.
Yeah, but here's what's shocking me is that, and I haven't even began to give you the greatest hits of things he failed on. I mean, you're admitting yourself that a lot of things you wanted him to do he's not doing, and we haven't even gotten to the ending wars and all the Epstein list. I can't believe you're giving him a B. You're not even you're admitting a bunch of things on your own that he hasn't done. I'm surprised you're giving him a B at this point.
I don't think that anyone is going to do everything that someone wants them to do. I think there's going to be people, you're going to have to compromise no matter what. I'm super centrist. I believe in a lot of stuff on the left and I believe a lot of stuff on the right. So I have to make compromises every single time I go to the poll. I believe in women's rights, right? I believe in
a B?
Right to choose.
Women's rights, and women, you believe women should have a B means above average. You got some pretty good, big gripes against President Trump, and I haven't even gave you my list.
I said that I was being gracious because it's only 8 months in. He still has 3 years to go.
I said based on the first 8 months.
Fail him. Okay, for the first 8 months, I'll drop it down to a C. But there's a lot of things that I knew going into his administration that I wasn't going to get out of him. I knew, like, I didn't care about the price of eggs. I didn't listen to him when he talked about the price of eggs. I didn't give a shit. I knew that I wasn't gonna get the AB thing that I truly wanted for women. I knew that there was gonna be certain things that I was just gonna have to say, this is not something that I can get right now.
You would have got that out of Kamala, though.
I'm not gonna get pew control for our schools. I'm not gonna get, like
you would have got most of this stuff from Kamala, right?
Yes, but then I wouldn't have gotten other stuff.
What other stuff are you?
I wouldn't have had our military taken care of. I wouldn't have got our military strong again. I wouldn't have had like our lowest ranks wouldn't be where they're at right now.
Our what wouldn't be where they're at? You said our what wouldn't be where?
Lowest ranks. I'm sorry.
Military. Okay.
Like our military was living at below poverty level. It was bad. Like it's still bad, but it was really bad. We have military members that are serving, risking their lives, and they're collecting food stamps and on WIC and can't take care of their families and going to food pantries. Like, that's sad. I want that to not be a thing. And I can't get that under the left side, unfortunately.
I'm trying to find, while you were talking, I've been trying to find out on Google or whatever. I haven't heard where this is doing so much for the military, like you say, and I haven't heard that it's not either. So I'm trying to find out how the military is really. You make it sound like the military is doing really well from the big beautiful bill. I haven't heard that.
Not necessarily from the big beautiful bill. There's some, yes, but there's also just been changes from this administration that directly impact the military. Like, I'll be honest, I don't have any problem with trans people. I don't have any problem with LGBTQ, whatever. I don't want to go to work and have to sit down and have full-on conversations with people about their beliefs and how they choose to live their life in their bedroom when I'm supposed to be taking care of patients.
Do you really think transgender people go to the job talking about who they fuck? I mean, you really think they doing that?
Tim, that's the thing. That's what was happening in the military. We were having what's called TELL sessions, TELL. And so it was started out as DEI, and then it was DEIA, and then it turned into TELL. But it literally became circle talks where we all had to get together and we had to talk about individuality and culture and accepting one another. And
is it that many people that are transgender in the military to even have those conversations?
There has been a huge uptake of transgenders in the military, and if it were that they could just come into the military and adapt and just go about their day and work, it would be one thing. That is what we thought we were getting. Because honestly, whenever Don't Ask, Don't Tell went away and gay people could openly serve in the military, there was no difference. It was great. We had no problem, right? But the transgender thing changed it drastically. They're always on what's called a profile for medications. And the thing that's frustrating is we kick people out all the time that have mental illnesses, and they lose their retirement, they lose their career, they lose everything for major depressive disorder.
Somebody in the comments, what branch of service were you in?
Air Force.
Air Force, okay.
You can see it on my page if you don't believe me.
Fair enough. I didn't know there was that many trans in the military, though.
There has been a big uptick, yes. And it's just been seen as, it's kind of a slap in the face to others because there's this big unfair treatment surrounding this one small group of people that are in the military, and now it's a lot of walking on eggshells. We're changing pronouns. We're like, imagine we go by sir and ma'am on a regular basis. Like if we don't say sir and ma'am, that's a problem. And now all of a sudden we're having to say they, them, like ask what pronouns they want to be called. And it was very confusing and it was hard, but we were trying. But when they started these group sessions, that was a whole nother thing. And it just led down this path of, in the beginning, I was all for it. I was like, great, let's learn about some things. I went in there and I was so prepared. I wanted to hear about people. But then it just got to be too much. I had work that I needed to be doing.
So do you support President Trump simply kicking them out of the military?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Then that would be part of the be great. I mean, it sounds like most of your...
The only reason is because people with MDD, major depressive disorder and anxiety, they also simply get kicked out of the military. Transgender people often have, probably about 99% of them often have major depressive disorder and other mental health disorders. They want to be retired from the military. They want to have this special treatment. We don't give special treatment to the other people that have served 18 years, 19 years, whenever they're getting out of the military because they have major depressive disorder. Okay. It's not right to do that to this one small group of people and not do it for the rest.
All right, fair point. Listen, I can't speak on it because I'm not in the military, and you're talking about a lot of stuff that I was not aware that happened. So it sounds like when you gave him a B, most of it is military related. That's what it sounds like.
Well, yeah, that's my life.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Unfortunately, so like I said, I always have to have, when I go to the poll, I have to make compromises no matter what. And I know people hate hearing the whole centrist thing, but I truly am. There's nothing I can do. I believe in a lot of socialist things, and I believe in a lot of Republican things, conservative things. I don't fit in a box. But Biden wasn't doing it for me.
Let me ask you this real quick before I move it on from you. Who won the 2020 election?
Biden.
And you voted for this guy who was trying to steal it then?
I don't believe he was trying to steal it.
He tried to have he tried to have his own vice president refuse to certify an election that you're admitting he lost. What was that?
Oh, I don't know about.
You didn't know he tried to. You didn't know he tried to tell his vice president Mike Pence to not certify Joe Biden's victory so that Joe Biden could become president. You didn't know that. You never heard of the chance of hang Joe Biden and all of that? Hang Mike Pence, rather? You didn't hear none of that stuff?
No, I really didn't.
Why do you think they were there on January 6th?
I think that it was a rally that turned into a march and a protest, and then there
what were they protesting?
The election.
Right, the one he lost. So what are they protesting?
The election results. They didn't like Biden winning.
But they don't have access to how elections are running. So somebody had to tell them that the election results didn't go well. They had to hear from somewhere else.
Listen, you won't find me making excuses for Trump. He egged on the situation. Absolutely. I believe that him getting up there and doing everything that he did was way too much. I also believe in taking accountability for your own actions. Whenever people went to that rally, I believe that there were a massive amount of people that were there to see Trump and to listen to Trump, and that did the march and went on about their merry way. And then I believe that there were some people that were there that were extremists, and they stormed the Capitol and they rioted.
But let me ask you this way. Had Trump admitted that Joe Biden won the election, which is what you're doing, do you think January 6th would have still happened had Trump not told all those people he won?
I don't think so.
So
I
how
don't
is he
know.
not responsible for what happened? I mean, he's literally the fuel of the fire.
I do believe that. Yeah, he's definitely the fuel of the fire. He needs to shut his mouth like so much. I hate the shit that comes out of that man's mouth, and I want him to learn to shut his mouth more. But I don't know. Like if he still had the rally and he was like, I lost, Biden won. I don't know. Would people still go over to the White House and be pissed off because it was such a charged election? I don't know.
Well, first of all, they didn't show up. First of all, they didn't show up on their own. He literally took to social media, him and Steve Bannon and the rest of them, and invited them to DC. And then, of course, they showed up to hear him speak. He then directed them to go to the Capitol building. So they're doing this all by his guidance. He is guiding them to the Capitol building.
Right. I disagree with all of that. He should not have done any of that, and he is at fault for that. I do not agree with that.
What about what? Now you said some adults, did their own thing and they got out of hand, and it was their fault that they went into the Capitol. How do you feel about him pardoning those folks that got out of hand?
It depends on. I don't think he should have pardoned all of them. But I do think that some of them were warranted. And my only justification is comparing how other people have been treated for similar things in the past. Sure, take the name of the building out, the Capitol, right? But I also lived through the Summer of Love, right? And the BLM. In the beginning, I was one of the marchers too. And
you marched with BLM?
Absolutely. I actually got at Lakenheath in England. I actually got approval to do a march in England on the base, and we did a march there. So
wait. What were you? So you do believe the police are mistreating people of color?
Absolutely.
I mean, how did George Floyd? How did he pass away?
George Floyd is not the one that I believe. He passed away from an overdose.
Okay, so you don't believe Derek Chauvin took his life?
Not necessarily. I don't believe that what Derek Chauvin did was right, but I don't believe that the maneuver unalived Floyd.
Should Derek Chauvin be incarcerated?
Yes.
For what?
For excessive force.
Okay.
I don't believe it should be a murder charge.
Okay, fair. I mean, you make for a very interesting call. I mean, you're definitely not MAGA. You sound like you're close, but I mean, you got some interesting things in there. You're probably one of the most interesting in terms of where your politics are. You're all over the place. I mean, which there's nothing wrong with that. But you definitely are not in a position where you can be pigeonholed. You make for an interesting call. I do got to move it on, but my door is always open to you. Come on back anytime.
All right. Thanks, Tim.
And thank you for your service. Appreciate it. Thank you for your service as well. Moving on with the program. She might be in disguise, somebody said. Well, I mean, MAGA attending a Black Lives Matter rally? I don't know. That doesn't sound like MAGA to me. She leans right, obviously. I mean, you heard her politics, but at the same time, she also stated that a lot of her decisions are military oriented, and the right does tend to be more favorable to the military than the left. So, I mean, I understand some of the things she said. I don't agree with everything, but it was an interesting conversation, and I like to hear from people of all sides of the aisle. Free thinker, good job, says Daniel. Yeah, I agree with that. No, Derek Chauvin's job was to protect and serve, but was he doing that when he was sitting on George Floyd? Was he protecting and serving the public? Watch the videos. Derek never did anything with intent. Floyd was on drugs and a criminal. Listen, let me just say this real quick, and we're not going to get too deep into George Floyd, but it doesn't matter what George Floyd was doing, whether he was hooked on fentanyl, whether his enlarged heart led him to have a heart attack, had asthma, or it doesn't. There is nothing that George Floyd could have been going through where the solution is to sit on him for 8 to 9 minutes. It's just it. There's no, like what my last caller said. My last caller thinks it was an overdose, but even she's saying, look, what he did was still wrong. There is, if you stumble upon somebody who is overdosing on heroin or fentanyl or whatever, you don't sit on that person for 8 or 9 minutes. So there is, what Derek Chauvin did was so far off of the beaten path in terms of police training that the only thing you can argue with Derek Chauvin is, as what my last caller said, he's wrong, but maybe not murder. It should be something. I mean, he deserves to be penalized and punished and disciplined no matter what you think he did, no matter how you think Floyd passed away. Because sitting on a person for 9 minutes without doing anything at all is not a prescription, no matter what a suspect is going through. And make no mistake about it, police, paramedics, nurses, doctors, they all stumble upon people who are overdosing on drugs all the time. And none of them just have a seat on the person for 9 straight minutes. So Derek Chauvin obviously did not follow training by doing that. I mean, there's pictures of him sitting on George Floyd with his hands in his pocket, looked like, or his hands on his hip. We can say, well, his knee wasn't on his neck, it was on his back, it was on his shoulder. None of that is the answer for what you're claiming. None of that. You don't just put your knee on any part of a person's body and just sit there for 8 or 9 minutes. If he's struggling and you got multiple cops there, you can hog tie the guy, whatever the case may be. If he's spitting, put a spit mask on him, put his hog tie body in a car and put a seatbelt on it and drive off. There's no training that just says sit there for 9 minutes until the guy goes limp. So he's going to jail no matter what. It's just a matter of how long, and a family would get a lawsuit no matter how. I mean, even if George Floyd hadn't lived, Derek Chauvin would be in trouble, and the city of Minneapolis would have a lawsuit because what he did is just excessive. There's no training that says you just pause on top of a guy for 8 or 9 minutes. Floyd was a bad guy. We get it, but human life is not to be taken. Yeah. I agree with that. I'm MAGA. Fuck that thin blue line. Yeah. Thin blue line causes a lot of problems in itself. And by the way, my last caller even admitted, she believes that blacks are being mistreated by cops. That's not a traditional belief of MAGA. So that is another part I would add to her defense to suggest she's probably not MAGA, because most MAGA tend to believe that blacks are making that shit up and all they do is need to follow the law and that stuff won't happen to them. So think of it that way. I can agree with that, but I still don't understand why people thought it was logical to burn down their own communities. Desperation, nowhere to turn. I mean, listen, if you what do they say? Protest the right way. Protesting the right way doesn't get heard. I mean, if the folks that believe the police are mistreating people of color, let's say they don't burn down their own communities. If they go to other people's communities, they're going to shoot them really quick. So you can't go to a white community, they're going to shoot you or whatever the case may be. If you protest the right way, Martin Luther King style, nobody's going to listen to you. The minute they started burning shit down, all of a sudden stuff starts happening. Derek Chauvin was being played over and over again on television, getting off the lifeless body of George Floyd, and they had not even charged him with a single crime for 4 straight days. Once the town started burning, even the mayor of Minneapolis was like, you need to charge this motherfucker with a crime. Even the mayor was finally saying, you need to, that burning down of shit, you got to act on that. That's why people are doing it, because it promotes people to act. Otherwise, if you just protest peacefully, they're not going to listen. So that's why they're doing it, because it gets results. Real quick in the comments. Yeah, but the money is in coke, not marijuana. What are you guys talking about? I couldn't have a storefront to sell cocaine, but I could have a dispensary on the beach. Okay, that's something wild. I'll leave that at that. Real quick, tap the screen, get me on up to, we did get 60,000. Can we get 70? Not to sound like an auction. So those Koreans, we skilled should just protest peacefully and Trump will change his behavior. Protesting peacefully never gets anybody to change their behavior. Period. Doesn't matter what you're protesting. The abortion protesters that protested for years, they would stand out in front of an abortion clinic. They would hold up pictures of what a dead baby looks like, and they would read the Bible. They're not blocking traffic. They're not burning or looting anything. They're just standing there peacefully protesting. And the public just drive by and ignore them. They would have been there indefinitely. Nobody's going to listen to a peaceful protest. You're never going to get any attention from people. If I don't agree with what you're protesting peacefully is never going to change my mind. This is the whole Colin Kaepernick thing. You know, I would listen to him if he protests peacefully, but he's bringing politics to the football games. I don't like that. Why don't he protest the right way? If he protested the right way, the people that are saying that would just tune him out. Let's say Colin Kaepernick, as opposed to taking a knee during the anthem, said at the end of the game, I'm going to go to community center or something like that. Come meet and come meet me there, and I want to discuss. You wouldn't show up. Because the people that were criticizing Colin Kaepernick do not believe what he's protesting. If you don't agree with what I'm protesting, you're not going to show up or you're not going to adhere to my cause. There is no right way to protest something you don't believe in. That would be like women trying to protest that believe they should be able to terminate a baby in the third trimester. If you don't agree with that, there is no right way for them to protest to you. You're not going to bend to their cause no matter how they protest. If you don't believe that the police are mistreating or systematically being racist to black people, there's nothing Colin Kaepernick can do no matter how he protests. You're just not going to listen to him. So what the protester does is force you to listen. By putting it up in your face, blocking traffic, doing it during the anthem in the middle of a game, burning down cities. They force you to listen because at the end of the day, if they didn't force you, you're going to turn them out. You're going to tune them out. Even Martin Luther King, who we now look back on and say he protested the right way, he did the same thing. He would walk in all white restaurants with a bunch of black people and sit down next to him. Now, they didn't want black people in those restaurants. They didn't want them in there. So the only way he could protest and get their attention is he had to do something to disrupt the norm. All of these white folks are getting up, walking out of the restaurant or whatever the case may be. I don't want to sit down next to these Negroes. So you're affecting business and things like that. But if they had just peacefully walked down the street, they would have ignored him indefinitely. The only way to have success by protesting is to do it the wrong way. You have to disrupt stuff to get it done. Maybe not burn down a city or loot something, but you got to do shit that's going to piss people off and force them to look at you. That's the only way it's going to work. Trade places with Rick and tell me I'm an idiot. Okay. Real facts, talk some truth. They'll overlook you and keep with the narrative. Yeah, they will overlook you indefinitely. Unless you do something that forces them to pay attention to it, they'll just keep, because they don't believe it. They don't even want to address what you're protesting to begin with. So you got to do something that forces them to take note. What's the right way? I just said the right way is to do disruptive shit. That's usually going to be illegal. You're going to have to do something blocking traffic, for instance, so that the people who are late getting home are going to start calling their city council and mayors. You need to do something about this shit. I spent 5 hours in traffic. So the mayor now is getting all these calls, but he's going to start listening to the folks now because he's getting calls and he wants it to go away. The same way the NFL is getting calls. You need to do something. This motherfucker is taking a knee doing the anthem and shit. You're forcing people to act. My whole damn town is burning down. I lost my business. You guys need to do something. These folks are all over the streets throwing torches and Molotov cocktails. Do something about this shit. You see him on TV sitting on the dude's neck. That's how you get attention. You have to do stuff that they have no choice but to pay attention to. That's where all your successful protests are. People doing stuff that they actually have to pay attention to. By the way, for folks who say, well, you guys don't give a shit about black on black crime, every major black city has peaceful protests where they protest the right way to stop black on black violence, and it doesn't end because, like I said, protesting peacefully, doing it the right way has no success. But most black neighborhoods, they do have walks and marches and shit when some little girl got killed by a stray bullet or something like that. They do protest. They do it the right way, and it goes nowhere because people can ignore that. So, yeah, if you want to protest to work, you got to do some shit where they have no choice but to pay attention to it. And that's almost always going to be something that is illegal. Democrat leaders of the inner cities is the problem for decades. That is not true. The reason why Democrat cities seem so fucked up and Republican cities seem so great is because you only pay attention to what's going wrong in Democrat cities. The fact that there's widespread poverty in Republican cities gets ignored. The fact that there's far more people that have no health care insurance. Infant mortality rate sucks in Republican areas. So that means people are getting pregnant and the kids are more likely to die in childbirth. All of that stuff is more prominent in the red areas. But you're focused on crime and you're ignoring all of that. People dying is people dying. What's the difference if the person dies on the delivery table versus they get smoked by a stray bullet? Dead is dead, right? So you're focusing on what you want to see and ignoring all the bad things that the roads and bridges, all of that shit in red areas is terrible, terrible. But you only see what's happening in Chicago. So I think you can do anything if you play games with the statistics. Somebody asked, am I black? Really? If I'm a freak for not standing by a pedo, then damn it will be the freak. Okay, you guys are really talking crazy. Come down for the Taste of Chicago this weekend, Tim. You know, I've been a Summerfest guy for quite a while in Milwaukee. I haven't been to the Taste in a minute, though. I haven't been to the Taste in a minute. I'm going to be honest with you, and it has nothing to do with just Chicago. I'm no longer a fan of large crowds, and that's a pretty big fucking crowd at the Taste of Chicago, just like the air show there, Aaron Waters show is. I don't fuck around with large crowds anymore. It's just too many pew-pews and mental ill people in this country. And that ain't got nothing to do with just Chicago. I don't fuck around with them big crowds like that where everybody's just rolling around, you know, even like places like the French Quarter, you know, during Mardi Gras. So I don't fuck around with large crowds like that anymore. You know, after a certain age, that shit ain't cool no more. You know, 20 years old, I can get out there, but now I'm not a big fan of walking around with large crowds like that. It's just too much room for shit to happen, something to go wrong. I'd pass on it. That's just me. I went to see Matt Rife, comedian, a couple months ago in Nebraska. Full stadium, like 30-something thousand. I didn't even like that. And that was in Omaha. I mean, I think it was like less than 1% black people there. And I'm still like, shit can happen here. Shit can still pop up. I'm just not a big fan of large crowds anymore. That's just me, though. Some of you folks like that. I'm fine with a mid-sized improv or something like that, but them big-ass Kevin Hart stadium shows that I used to go to all the time, not as comfortable anymore. I don't like that big-ass crowd shit. Not to mention all of the hassle driving home after it. And driving home after the Taste of Chicago or even getting on the L, man, that's got to be crazy. Real quick in the comments here. Very smart, Tim, says Debbie. Yeah, it was, you know, back in the day, I was a big fan of all of that stuff. As I've gotten older, just not a big fan of big crowds anymore. King Finn, good evening.
All I want to say, first of all, real quick is, so from now on, since all you MAGA maggots and dummies don't seem to understand what a peaceful protest is, what we're going to do is we're going to dress up in MAGA hats.
Oh, my God.
And act like we're going to storm the Capitol again, because that was a love fest, right? So what if every black person who has to explain why the fuck he don't want to get shot or fucking or murdered in the fucking streets by a cop needs to wear a MAGA hat for you motherfuckers to get it, because that's what it was about. Fuck them motherfucking buildings. Fuck them motherfucking businesses. We are sick and tired of having to deal with the problem of cops being systematically fucking racist. And they're always having to be a fucking problem. Every time I jump in my car, I'm scared that I might get stopped by a police officer and get fucking murdered. Does that happen to you white people? No. Why? Because the color of your fucking skin. So get out of your motherfucking comfort zone. Wake up to the truth of what the fuck is happening after all the motherfucking names that happened in the quote-unquote summer of love that you motherfuckers don't seem to remember. The reason the summer of love was the summer of love is because so many fucking black people got shot in the fucking back by cops. You fucking cowards. Maybe we wouldn't have to do shit like that. But again, The next time we peacefully, quote unquote,
Let's talk about George Floyd. You said George Floyd's death.
grab a bunch of red hats.
Ooh. Well, I will push back on. Hold on a second. My damn monitor is going crazy here. I will push back on one thing you said, though. You say fuck those buildings. I mean, a lot of times these riots, King, they lead to a lot of stores and shops that we need in our neighborhoods not coming back. Like, I was in Ferguson a couple of days after I think, was it Mike Brown, that riot or whatever, or whatever his name was. But a lot of that was businesses that the black community were patronizing. So
it was Mike Brown.
Yeah. So when you're burning down your own facilities, it can lead to like deserts of certain businesses in black neighborhoods because they don't always come back.
You know what, Tim? I would be able to understand that, but we had to do something to get their motherfucking attention. And I'm just gonna say this: I love how you can push back on me, but you can push back on that fake ass bitch who just came up there and said
I pushed back on her. I asked her why the hell she giving him a B. I did push back.
Your ass is wobbling. Your ass is wobbling and clapping like Trump on that fucking red carpet waiting on Putin.
Oh,
you ain't had no motherfucking backbone. You knew damn well that's some motherfucking bullshit.
Well,
I knew that was
and I see you don't woke up gangsta grandma. I want you to now you talked about the police and the fact that whites don't have to worry about the police like blacks. You say, you're worried about getting shot every time you get in the car. I gotta ask, I want you to hear this. I want to get your opinion on it.
Talk about George Floyd. You said George Floyd's death was a terrible thing.
Terrible.
Why are African Americans still dying at the hands of law enforcement in this country?
And so are white people. So are white people. What a terrible question to ask. So are white people. More white people, by the way. More white people.
So he seems to think opposite.
This is why he don't want me to come to the White House. Because when I come to the White House, I'm going to stretch his fat ass out. He going to be stiff as hell by the time we get done talking. Because I'm going to snap the fuck off. Where the fuck is the proof? Don't say no goofy ass shit like that without no motherfucking proof. Because I can tell you right now, all the times where I'm driving down the street praying I don't get stopped, the white people who do get stopped, guess what they get?
Tickets.
Yeah. And they riding the fuck away. Plenty of them. Driving one-eyed willies, if you remember what the fuck that was. Driving cars with bogus ass motherfucking plates. If you know what the fuck them is. Plates with the bogus ass expired tags. Number motherfucking 1. Where motherfucking George Floyd was on his mother, had a motherfucker on his neck for 9 minutes for a bogus 20. That wasn't even his motherfucking money for all you fake ass motherfuckers. Where talking about he died from motherfucking fentanyl in his motherfucking system. No, bitch, he didn't. He died because that motherfucker had his motherfucking knee on his neck for 9 minutes. And that's an ignorant ass motherfucking argument to bring to a motherfucker like me who actually live in Minnesota, in Minneapolis, and know George Floyd. Bitch, fuck you. For everybody who believe he died off of fentanyl, eat a fat baby's dick, nigga. Because I don't give a flying fuck. Okay?
A fat baby's.
That ain't what he died from.
Well, I believe the toxicology report agrees with you, but to me, like I said earlier in the show, it doesn't matter what George Floyd died of. Sitting on the guy for 9 minutes is not acceptable, regardless. I mean, there's just no excuse to do that.
Go ahead. That bullshit, that bitch just said literally inflamed me like a bunion like a bunion.
What did she say that was that bad?
That goofy ass shit about there's so many trans people in the military. Bitch, you ain't no motherfucking centerist. You a fake ass motherfucking MAGA trying to pass in a black person's motherfucking life. You didn't think you was gonna get fucking brought up and you start agreeing and fucking disagreeing and twisting yourself into a fucking not like MAGA reacts and fucking twisting. Fuck out of here. Nobody believes that shit. I'm sorry, boo-boo. Take your motherfucking TikTok membership, throw it in the garbage. It came from China. What do you care? You like the tariffs. You like the taxes. Where the fuck is the military? Where's the admonishment? Where's the money for the military in the big, beautiful bill? Where is it at?
I gotta say, but I did push back and I did tell her that I haven't seen that. I mean, I told her, I said, I'm not seeing what you're saying.
Nobody's seen it. It doesn't exist. It's like the Epstein files. It don't exist. Fuck out of here.
All right.
That bullshit, bro.
I'm going to look it up because I'm assuming that me and her are likely talking again in the future, and I want to see if there's accuracy because she's in the military, so she should know. She should know.
You really think she's in the military? Like I said, what carrier you on? Where the fuck? What base you flying out of? You in the Air Force? Where? Tell me, because I want to know. I want to know where's all these trans people who are in the military. I really want to know that.
That I wasn't aware of. I know Trump, kicked them out of the military. I'm not aware that a whole bunch of people got kicked out when he said you could no longer serve as trans. I don't know what percentage of the military is trans, but it's got to be well under 1%.
I want to know where's the circle she's talking about, and how much time do they got devoted to that? Seeing for the fact that it's National Guards members in D.C. picking up trash. So if the military, the Air Force, got carriers out in the fucking
Caribbean,
Gulf, and all these carriers out in the military bases, they doing all of this circle jerking, talking about trans people. Where are they at? I want to know what base she was at. Where, boo boo?
Yeah, I don't have an answer for that. I was not aware that there was a big. I was not aware there was a big audience like
it's
that.
It's like the Epstein files, dog. It don't exist.
They
don't exist, right?
According to Trump, they don't.
Fuck out of here. You know damn well. Ooh, I ain't even getting in the live for this shit for today. I just actually was checking in to see if you was even on. I was watching the game and had ended the game, and I was like, let me see if motherfuckers is on TikTok right now. And walked into this hog-ass bullshit. Smell it all bullshit.
All right, King. Well, I'm always glad to have you on, man. Appreciate you coming through and showing some love. She had a difference of opinion. Thanks for coming through, though.
Just saying. And next time you see me in the live next to you, man, don't be scared. Say what's up, because you know I'm coming in hot every damn time. Especially when I hear some bullshit.
Always a pleasure. Peace. Thank you. All right, moving on with the program. Thank you. That was the one and only King Finn. I see in the comments, Debbie says, thank you, King. You don't question someone's service. No, I didn't question her service. In fact, I thanked her for her service. But I just simply said, I'm not aware that there were so many people that are transgender in the military. I was not aware of that. Oh, she was talking about, you say, was he talking about me? Yes, just your average mom. He absolutely was talking about you. Yes, he was. I learned it by watching you, Dad. Coronavirus 4,300 transgender servicemen as of June this year. So you said it was 40. Nathan Dunlap, you says 4,300 transgender servicemen as of June this year at 134,000 retired transgender service work veterans. Is it that many of them? Wow. 134,000 retired transgender service veterans. Some of them must have became trans after they got out. Some of them must have did a full 20-year ride, and then when they got out, they notified the VA that they were going to identify as something else. I cannot imagine that many of them was in there. Wow. I see your comment, just the average mom. You said I was telling you. Yeah, like I said, and I was making it clear I was ignorant on it. I didn't deny you. I didn't know. I made it clear I'm not military. 134,000 transgender veterans. Wow. Actually, the number is 15,500 still active. That's still significant. That's more. There's more transgender in the military than there are in most other professions. How many military service men and women do we have as a whole? I'd be curious to know. 15,000 seems like a lot. I'd be curious to know how many people are in our military, period. Who cares? They are serving too, says Debbie. The people that are not transgender care. You just heard my other guest, my female Air Force person. She just stated that they don't like the pronouns they're having to be called and special treatment. I mean, they care. 320 something thousand. Just sure. So you're saying there's 320,000 people in the military, and 15,000 are trans? That is a lot. I didn't think it would be. That is a lot of them. Wow. Remind me of the general who dressed up as a dog instead of real issues. They wanted to push these alternative lifestyles. Well, look, let's just be clear. Let's not play games. There's a lot of hatred to the transgender community. I'm not gonna just like the gay community. The L, the G, the B, the T, all of those letters. There's people who hate the L, not as bad. The L, not as bad. But you even seen G.I. Jane with Debbie, what was the woman's name? Demi Moore. Even in that fictional movie, they were pushing back on her. I mean, she was not trying to be the L. She just looked like one. But the L, the G, the B, and the T, that community is going to get a lot of hatred. But our society does not admit hatred. They come up with other reasons for why they have a problem with you. They don't come out like you don't hear people saying, I don't like black people. No, they come up with other reasons. You guys are lazy, you don't work, you're violent, you still nobody just walks up and says, I don't like you simply because God made you darker than me. Now that's usually what it is, but you don't come out and admit that. So the LGBTQ community is kind of the same way. There's a lot of people that just hate that community, but they can't come out and say that, so they come up with other reasons for why they have a problem with them. You're doing this, or I don't like you. You're demanding that, or you're shoving this down my throat. When in reality, we just hate you. The perfect example I often give is you hear on the right people constantly saying, I don't want them shoving LGBTQ stuff down my kids' throats in schools. But then the minute they started passing all kinds of laws that forced the 10 Commandments to be shown in schools or displayed in schools, that forced kids to read from the Bible, like in Oklahoma, suddenly the whole notion of shoving things down a kid's throat disappeared. So it's okay for me to shove things down a child's throat as long as I agree with them. I don't agree or like the LGBT community, so I don't want that being shoved down my kid's throat. I agree and like Christianity, so I'm fine with that being shoved down my kid's throat and every other kid in class too. So you just have to make up a reason to make what I refer to as hate sound legit. Nope, not that either. I don't know what you said. Well, like I said, there's a ton of hate for that community, period. There's a ton of, like, for instance, painting the transgender community out to be pedophiles when there's no significant history at all of them abusing. If one of them go in the bathroom with my daughter, I'm gonna go in there and beat his ass. There's no history of that community going in bathrooms abusing children. Why is that such a big, huge issue? There's no history of them going in bathrooms and flashing kids or doing anything harmful to children whatsoever. Yet people are making it sound like I don't want this person going in the bathroom with my kid because they're going to do something to my kid, and I'm going to go in there and beat their ass. That's hatred. That's hatred. They have no history of that whatsoever. Tim, it was that long in time that they had a problem with women in the military. Yeah, that's what it is. It's an old dog trying to teach an old dog new tricks, but also a lot of it is hate based as well, though. Anywhere the transgender community shows up, there are going to be people that don't want them there. Anywhere. Even when they purchase their own property and hold a drag queen show or open up a gay bar, people in the neighborhood don't want them there. Even when they don't pay their dues and open up their own property. I mean, anywhere they show up, because the hate is real, people are not going to want them there. It's just, as simple as that. Let's say you get a block club, you want to have a drag show or whatever you want to have. You pay your permits and you have a block club party or something like that. Well, kids are out there seeing it. Your kid don't have to be here. I mean, it's just, so anywhere they show up, there's going to be problems. Closeted men fear gays the most. Never heard that. If a black and Mexican, what are you saying? This don't even sound like this is going anywhere, right? But I'm gonna leave. I guess that's a joke. If a black and Mexican are in a cop car, who's driving? Okay, now that don't sound like that's starting out to be racist at all. I'll just leave that alone. I'll leave it at there. Pasties fatigue. Can I steal that? It's getting late. I do appreciate 70. You guys didn't. I didn't get as many on the tap of the screen, but if you guys enjoy this type of dialogue, open dialogue from all sides of the aisle, we don't block, ban, or censor anybody. If you like this, follow the program. If you're watching on TikTok, give your boy a sub. If you're watching on YouTube, we'll certainly be on tomorrow. With Trump, news moves at the speed of light. Who knows what's going to happen between now and then? I mean, we got ships in the Caribbean that we're about to probably have a major conflict with Venezuela. You don't send that much shit if you're not going to use it. So chances are we're going to end up dealing with Venezuela. I don't know what's going to happen with all of these, Russia, India, China, probably North Korea forward. There's a lot going on right now. So we'll be out here tomorrow. Feel free to follow the program. Like I said, if you enjoy civilized dialogue from all sides of the aisle, what do I say? We go left of Bernie Sanders to I'm having dinner with Q. So everybody gets to speak on the program. We will be on Clapper also tomorrow. So we'll be on TikTok, YouTube, and Clapper. So until then, I'll catch you guys. Y'all take care. Have a good night. It's your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. I'm out. Catch you later. Don't know why that came up.